call it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another of my Latin explaining streams. I hope everybody had a great weekend, just like I did. I don't know how many of you guys saw the Miss Universe yesterday, but shout out to Mexico for winning the Miss Universe 2021. It was a great show because we saw six Latinas being among the top 10. And that was an amazing representation. I am very proud that, it's within Latin America, the winner, because not because I'm a Latina, right? But Latinos make the most beautiful woman in the world. Now, today we're going to discuss many topics, but as many of you guys saw, the main one is the number one thing that's keeping you poor. Before we touch on that subject, as normally I do, right, I want to discuss a few things that are happening in Latin America, some good, some not so good. And I want to share my opinion. I don't know how many of you guys follow me on Instagram, but this has been a crazy weekend for Puerto Ricans. And oh man, from where I should start. Where for those who don't know, in Puerto Rico, the fight for our status has been a never ending battle. So we have the current status, which is an Estado Libre Asociado, which basically is an associate free state of the United States, basically a territory, basically a colony. And we have two other um, ideals for what our status could be. One is a state to incorporate ourselves fully to the United States, and another one is independence, which will be emancipation from the United States of America. As many of you know, I'm pro independence because I believe every country should be their own thing and move towards progress instead of just having somebody control their assets, resources, and their people. So, overall, since this year started, um, our current governor, Pedro Pierluisi, solicited the oversight board that was implemented in Puerto Rico in 2016. He requested $6 million to pay six representatives of the statehood, which was the status that people voted the most in this past election in November 2020. Um, Voted for statehood because obviously a lot of us knew that we should not even vote for that because the Congress already said that Puerto Rico is not even in the agenda of Congress for the next 4 years. So many of us decided not to. Hi, Blamoon. Hi, Olabor, JS, and Jose Ramirez. Thank you for being here with me. Um, Many of us knew this was not availed by Congress, so it's basically nonsense. Now, the problem is that this governor that we have right now is pro statehood. And he decided to take it upon himself to send people paid by the Puerto Rican taxpayers to Washington, even though some of them don't even have the connections to actually make this happen if this is what people really want, just to be there and advocate for statehood. Now, mind you, that we already have a representative of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, which is Jennifer Gonzalez, and she's our Congress lady. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know, but our congresswoman or a congressman, depending on who we select on the regular elections, um, doesn't have the right to vote. As a matter of fact, in Congress, if she's not provided with a turn from another congressman or another congresswoman, she cannot even speak in Congress. The same thing happens to Guam, and the same thing happens to any territory of the United States that has representation in Congress. So, why do we need six random people with no connections, you know, in Washington being paid $170,000 a year for advocating for their ideals when we don't have the same amount of people being paid by taxpayers for any other ideal? Because if you guys follow the status, the status of Puerto Rico before the free associate state status was not defended with the same funds in Washington. So a funny thing is that I don't know how many of you guys follow the Puerto Rican Ricky resign movement in 2019, when we basically forced our governor back then to resign because he let 4,465 people die after Hurricane Maria. Also, he called women bitches and he minimized a lot of the pain that people were going through. Meanwhile, he was guarded in his fortress and in the governor mansion, basically with his family, having a good time. And people were literally burying their family members that died as a result of the hurricane in their backyards, because the corpses were so decomposed that they had to do something because nobody was coming to pick the corpses of their loved ones. Now imagine having to bury your loved one in your backyard because nobody's coming to pick it up. And then you discover later on that the governor has a private chat where he's making fun of this fact, and also hiding assets, hiding resources like food, water, first aid kits, and stuff like that from the public so that people basically will die. Now, what's funny about this and why I'm bringing this up is because yesterday, as a crazy and interesting turn of events, this man was wrote in by thousands of people as one of the representatives for the statehood. And I'm going to show you. I don't know if you guys can see it, but Ricky Rosselló, basically, is the former governor of Puerto Rico. And this was him in 2019 saying he says, Puerto Rico's deposed governor describes his family's panic flight from the island. In his first newspaper interview since a public uprising forced him to step down in 2019, Ricardo Rosselló laments the complete devastation of my reputation. So this man is just concerned about his reputation and nothing more. Now, why we have people in Puerto Rico voting for this man to be one of the representatives that will be funded with $170K yearly. None of the terms have been explained to us. Nobody has told us for how long we're going to be paying this. But you guys know we're $128 billion in national debt right now. State debt, I'm sorry, in Puerto Rico. So I don't know from where we're going to get the money to actually pay men like Ricardo Rosselló, which actually have the worst reputation to actually represent us, being so corrupt and everything. So any thoughts that you guys have, please write them down in the comment section about this. To me, in my opinion, I wish yesterday, instead of Ricardo Rosselló winning, we would have won something else like Miss Universe, for example. but this is what we got, people. This is what the Puerto Rican people have as a representative of themselves in Washington. If you're not outraged as much as many Puerto Ricans are today at this charade, I don't know what to tell you, to be honest with you. But in my opinion, right, I believe that this is a way of the establishment that we have in our corrupt system to still have people like Ricardo Rosselló that have made out of the statehood status a business, keep them employed with taxpayers' money. So if you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comment section. I will read the comments later on. But to be honest with you, this is a miscarriage of justice and a disgrace to all Puerto Ricans today, and we don't know for how long. But this is what we got. Okay, we asked for something specifically, and we got Ricky Rosselló instead. So now, on another topic, speaking about corruption in Latin American countries, uh, this past week has been kind of crazy, right? And we've had another country in Latin America made national news and worldwide news because of their approach. And like I said before, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I stated yesterday that I was going to give my public opinion today about what I think is happening in El Salvador. Now, as many of you guys know, Nayib Bukele is the president of El Salvador, and the LA Times, I'm going to post what LA Times wrote about this man, and they said El Salvador's millennial president is a man with one vision: power. Now, I'm going to, this is another controversial topic, but I'm going to just say this, right? Hi, Christina. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to give my opinion on this. I've spoken to a few Salvadorians online and one Salvadorian friend that I have here in California. And it seems like only the American press is putting this man on a blast. You know, Salvadorian people actually appreciate what Nayib Bukele did for them. And if you guys don't know what he did, basically this man is looking at a different approach on how to eradicate corruption from Latin American countries. And what he did is that he basically fired everybody, forcefully fired everybody and named other people, because the judicial system of people in El Salvador, and also basically what it will be the Senate, were corrupted. One of the things that he brought to our attention, like before this happened, was how they help one of the richest families in El Salvador to evade taxation. Meanwhile, you have poor Salvadorians and middle class Salvadorians, if there's such a thing, paying taxes out their ass and also living in poverty, which I agree with him on that is a crime. So there's like that many instances where these two branches of government have expressed their pandering to corruption, and it has become a culture. So what he did basically was get rid of that problem. A lot of people are coming for him because they believe that his move was not democratic. And I want to remind people that, to be honest with you, he was elected, okay? People decided that he was the president they wanted to see. They wanted to give him a try. He was an independent running for president. He was not affiliated to any collectivity, any party, and he still won. So people chose him to lead because they saw something in him. On top of that, the Congress that named basically what it would be the Senate of El Salvador were also elected officials in Congress. So what democracy people are trying to say he's not enforcing, if people elected most of the people that made these decisions between him and the Salvadorian Congress? So my thoughts, in my opinion, I believe that Blood Moon, Blood Moon says, who is that Juan Luis Guerra lookalike? That's Nayib Bukele. That's the president of El Salvador. And basically, in my opinion, of course, I'm not trying to speak for Salvadorian people. If there's any Salvadorian here that would like to share their opinion on this and how they feel, I will definitely give them the spot so that they can express their opinion. But in my opinion, as a Puerto Rican, right, I believe that what Nayib Bukele, we don't know where this is going. We don't know if he's going to be another Maduro or if not. But so far till today, I admire his move, his courage, because not everybody has the cojones to actually act the way it's supposed to be, which is pro people. You know, we have a culture in Latin America that needs to end because it's starving and killing people, which is corruption. And we see the corruption this way. The legislator basically makes a point about, hey, how we're supposed to manage the public or public funds, or what are we supposed to do. And what they decide to do most of the times is pander to the rich and to the powerful. So the poor people suffer, or people that are just common folk usually end up with the burnt of these decisions. And then when they're brought up in the judicial system of El Salvador, they're not even looking at this as a crime. So basically, what's happening is that impunity, right, keeps and remains in Latin America because shout out to Marquise for sending me a cash app of $20. He says, keep up the good work. Thank you, Marquis. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And every time somebody donates, I appreciate because there are times when I'm going to accept it. There are times when I'm like, well, probably, people don't like the way I talk because so many people come for me and stuff. But every time you guys support me, either with the likes, with being here, or commenting or interacting with me, you guys let me know that, I need to keep this going. So I appreciate everything that you guys do. So even if you can't donate to the channel, just liking the video lets me know that, you guys enjoy the content that I bring to you. So I appreciate it, Marquis. Thank you very much. So going back to El Salvador, and the culture in Latin America of corruption, what this man did is a bold move that I think many places, many countries in Latin America are afraid to see, because to be honest with you, if he manages this properly and he keeps it up, I believe that this will become the example of what we would like to mirror in other places in Latin America. The only way to actually get rid of the problem that's eating the core of Latin America is to find modern ways to address corruption. And this man just did that. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that LA Times is blasting him as this overtaker that performed a coup, or calling him whatever they call it. To me, anybody that's willing to risk their reputation and their position to actually deliver something for the people, they have my vote. They have my approval. I support them. And like I said, I support this young man. He's not even 40. He's a millennial just like us, that got fed up, learned from his father, and became an entrepreneur. He has a background in administration, and he decided to take his skills and put them in politics. And this is the result, which is something that I wish that Ricky Rosselló would have done. That's what we gave him our vote because we saw a 35-year-old trying to rise to power and actually give us something because that's what he promised, but he did not deliver. This is his counterpart. Nayib Bukele is the opposite, the charismatic and actually brave opposite of the coward Ricky Rosselló. And I admire him so much for what he's doing, the way he's handling the pandemic with the limited resources El Salvador has. If you guys don't know him, look him up. Look up what Salvadorian people are doing, how thankful they are for what he's doing. And like I said, I will be watching the development of his presidency very up close because, like I said, this is a move that could represent that as a collective, Latinos need to start voting for younger people with a better vision of what our countries should be like. We no longer should be underdeveloped. We no longer have to be depending on nothing else or letting others run our countries ragged and starve our people. So, probably this is why I even started this channel because I believe that corporate literacy is what we're lacking. Latinos are very particular people. We're very professional. We have the charisma, we have the resources, we have the manpower, we have the labor. We're hardworking people. However, we seem to only have one choice, and that is flee our countries. And it's because of the sickness and the cancer that's eating up at the heart of Latin America, which is corruption. And like I said, I applaud this man for what he did. I do not know the future. I don't know what he's going to do with El Salvador eventually now with this new branches that he just named alongside Congress. But I admire his power move. It was amazing to watch. It almost even brought me to tears to see that my generation is filled with brave people that are willing to do what it takes for Latin America to succeed. So kudos to Nayib Bukele. Keep up the good work. And like I said, don't let Yankees tell you what we should be doing. They should focus on their country and their country only. So, like I said, if you don't know who Nayib Bukele is, it's time to look him up and support your Salvadorian brothers and sisters. So, I think I went on too much on Nayib, but I'm excited about him. And I want to say hi to Crazy Boy, to True Teacher, to Jorge Ramirez, and to Goddess. Thank you for being here. Jorge says Latin America's economy is deliberately in debt to the international bankers. It fuels corruption like in Venezuela and Bolivia. Yeah, I believe you, Jorge. But the thing is, like, look, we can correct the past. Okay, we got here. We're in this position. Now, what we need is that we need brave people that can make something out of what we have, which is what I believe Nayib Bukele is doing. You know, the shitty economy and the international bankers that, yeah, like you said, fuel corruption are one thing, but this is the start. We have to get rid of the people that gives these international bankers impunity to do the things they do to our people. Because if you commit a crime is going to continue, either if it's corporate crime, if it's political crime or anything like that, it's going to continue. The problem is what fuels it is the lack of punitive action, the lack of consequence. And in Latin America, we have been watching how decade after decade, there's no impunity for the rich and powerful. So only if you have money, you will have a voice or commodities or even tax breaks. And that can no longer continue because the people at the bottom, which is the majority, can no longer afford it because it doesn't generate good employment. It does not feed our people. It does not develop our countries. And then we're prone for massive colonization. We're prone for gentrification. We're prone for people being mistreated, killings, more violence arises in our countries because people cannot afford a living. Now, Crazy Boy says, did he try to get rid of the shitty bank system? Anybody who tries that gets killed. I believe, it will happen eventually because, like I said, this is just the start. And I will want to see, how he steers the Salvadorian community and what he does with it. But to be honest with you, this is a message that many people, I believe, are scared of because, like I said, it represents that, hey, now we're watching El Salvador getting rid of corruption. Why we don't do the same thing? That's the message it's sending to other places in Latin America, and not even Latin America. Look at the United States of America itself. When you have Congress and the House of Representatives acting this way, and nobody and absolutely nobody holds him accountable. And this kid, this, because he's still a kid basically, just did that. He held them accountable for the shit they've been doing for decades and thinking that they can stay in power and still put people in difficult positions, and they have to risk their lives to actually come to another country to prosper because they cannot do it in Latin America. So, like I said, this is the beginning. I think we are not going to pressure him into rushing his process, but we should be watching closely how it works out for Salvadorians. And if his approach is correct, it should be working for the people. And it's a beginning that is beautiful to watch. And I'm glad it happened in our generation. So, with that being said, I'm going to start discussing today's main topic, which is the number one thing that's keeping you poor. Now, many people in America, when we have capitalism being the center of many things, right? We have learned from the American culture to associate success with possessions or the car you drive. Let's just call it that. And cars specifically, like I've met people that are very successful that drive a Nissan. And I've met people that are very unsuccessful or one paycheck away of being poor driving a BMW. Now, the average American, I'm going to share this with you guys. The average American earns around $31,000 a year. However, for some odd reason, the average American's monthly car payment is $563 for new vehicles and $397 for a used vehicle and $450 for leased vehicles. Overall, Americans owe nearly $1.4 trillion in auto loan debt. Auto debt makes 5% of American consumer debt. Now, what does this tell us? It's very simple, people. If you have a car payment that's 563, which is the national average, and you make 31,000, that's basically leaving you with a rough 1,500 a month to make ends meet. And that's without counting depreciation of the vehicle, maintenance, insurance, or God forbid you get into a car accident. So we're talking about, now you guys know that nationally car insurance has gone up after C-19. And speaking even for myself, your insurance can go all the way from 150 to 300 depending on how much you want as a deductible. Like me myself, I pay 248. Now that brings up, if you add it up, it's almost $800 a month that you pay for your vehicle. And that is if you get like a regular vehicle. If you dare to get a BMW or a Tesla or a Mercedes or a Land Rover, any of these vehicles, just to show people that you're doing good and you don't have the skills to know how to write it off, or you don't have a business, or you don't have certain things and you don't know how to handle this debt, you know, you can get in a very sticky situation because vehicles are a depreciating asset. That means that when you buy a car, the minute you drive it off the lot, it loses 10% of its value. I don't want to purchase a 40K asset that the minute I drive it out of the lot is already worth 1800 less. Okay, that's a depreciating asset. Is the number one depreciating asset alongside boats and planes, because it will take you. We're not talking about a car that's exotic, like a special edition Bugatti or something like that, that will generate you, you know, money eventually when you sell it as a classic later on. We're talking about a regular vehicle that you most likely will not even like in 3 years, that's trying to take you from point A to B. That's the purpose of a vehicle. It's not to show people success. And like I said, it's crazy to me that I'm seeing more and more young folks like myself driving these cars, especially the BMWs. Every time I see one of these people driving a BMWs and they don't, I ask them, do you have an LLC? Do you know how to write them off? They just look at me and crickets are in the background. And it worries me because we do not know how to manage money. We just want to keep up with the Joneses to impress people that do not care about you. We have developed, I don't know if it's social media, but we have developed this concept that looking like we're doing good is better than doing good in itself. So, with that being said, the number one thing that keeps you poor, Blood Moon says the number one thing that keeps you poor is being a shopaholic. Basically, it's the same thing, Blood Moon. Being a shopaholic means that you don't know how to manage your money and you want to purchase things that eventually will depreciate. If you buy, for example, you're addicted to buying iPhones. Like I've stated before, I think in my first show, I talk about buying iPhones instead of investing in Apple in the stock, right? You're putting $1,000 or $1,200 every year in the new iPhone because you want to keep up with the Joneses instead of saving that money or investing it in yourself or in your own business. For it doesn't matter if it's small, you can start a business for less than $5,000, which I'm going to talk next week how to start a business without a business. And you cannot put that money towards yourself. What you're doing is that you're creating a lot of debt and collecting a lot of debt, but generating money towards the people you say you hate, which are the rich and powerful. So, how exactly do we take the power back? Simple. Do not invest your money in purchasing stuff that's going to depreciate. Depreciating assets is the number one thing that will make you poor and will keep you there forever. So, to discuss this subject, I'm going to post the link in the chat. And if you think I'm just talking nonsense and I don't know what I'm talking about, you can come up here and set the record straight. You can come up here and share your opinions with me. But in reality, like I said before, the number one thing that's keeping you poor, let's start from the vehicles. You know, we have to get rid of this. We have to learn how to do good on our own without having to impress people. Because in reality, once you run your wallet ragged, nobody's going to stick around, at least not the people that you attracted with this flashy things that will depreciate next to you. It's like I said, it's insane to see, and it's super cringe for me to see that people do not understand money. Money equals time, and time is the real currency. Because every time you purchase something, you have to think of it this way. If I'm going to go and purchase an iPhone and you're on minimum wage, You have to calculate how many hours do you have to work after taxes to actually afford $1,200. And let's say you had to work somewhere along 160 hours, which is basically 1 month. So you're giving Apple 1 month of your life. Is it worth it? Now, let's take it to vehicles. It's the same. You're doing this for 72 months, 60 months, and all this time, but is it really worth it? Is it? Because I'd rather be in a regular vehicle that I can write off or do some stuff as an investment to take me from point A to point B rather than just spending my money that way. And also, for those of you that have even a small business or are self-employed, you guys need to as this is a disclaimer, but you should review it with your tax specialist. But if you're self-employed, are you writing off the business mileage and the maintenance and the use of vehicle that you're using monthly? Are you writing it off on taxes, or you're paying the full cost of this? My recommendation for people that are buying a vehicle is buy an used vehicle that is like 1 or 2 years um, old, and let the initial buyer absorb the loss, and then you come in when the vehicle is what, $10,000-$12,000 less, and then you start paying from there. Now let's hear from Jose. I see that Jose jumped in. Let's hear his opinion. Jose, how are you doing?
Good evening, Denise. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing. How about you?
Well, I'm doing fine, thank you. Any day above ground, it's a good day.
That's right. What do you think about the topics that, I don't know if you listen to the political topics that I talked before in the Latin America, or if you just want to comment on the one thing that's keeping you poor?
I'm fortunate I didn't hear that part because I was in another virtual meeting. In fact, I had three virtual meetings today.
Oh, wow.
So,
Busy day, busy day.
so what I'll do is I'll just look um, at the video just to keep me informed about what's going on. As far as the topic, what's keeping you poor? I mean, one thing is a lack of self-discipline
Definitely.
and a lack of vision. And let me just relate it to my own personal situation. 4 years ago, I started looking for my own place. And originally, I was going to rent. And then when I took a look how much I'm going to be paying for rent, well, gee, for a little bit more, I can probably pay as much as a mortgage and common charges. So I started looking for a condominium to buy. I was able to put away some money, not a lot, but some money, like about $10,000.
Of course.
And I was able to get a grant as a first-time homeowner, and I actually got a grant for $20,000.
Okay.
Which that I was able to take care of the closing costs. I was able to take care of the attorney's fees. I was able to take care of the fee for the real estate agent. Because anyone that's interested in buying property, what the thing they need to realize is the closing costs could be anywhere from 5 to 7% of the sell price.
Of course.
So, so I was able to buy my apartment in early 2018. So I've been a homeowner for over 3 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
I congratulate you on that move. That was a smart move.
Thank you. Well, actually, like I said, you have that discipline. Of course, it helps when you put away some money. It
Yes.
also helps when you have a good credit history. Okay. And actually, when I do retire,
Yeah.
I plan to leave New York.
Oh.
So
What? Okay, let me ask you something. What are your
yeah,
plans on what do you want to do with your property? Are you going to rent it out? Do you plan on selling and catching on the equity? What are your plans for your home?
actually, after I retire, I plan to put away some money to buy another condo in Connecticut where I have nephews and nieces that live over there.
Okay,
So,
so
so
you're going to rent it out or you're going to sell it?
I'm gonna sell it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because you'll get the equity. Look, this is a thing that people don't necessarily have to be the most knowledgeable in to actually do a smart move like Jose. Real estate, and I will bring a specialist later on my channel. Is a friend of mine that I've been watching religiously and learning a lot from him. Real estate is a long-term investment. It's not a short-term investment. It's a long-term one. For example, let's say now that, for example, me, I'm 33 years old, and I want to invest some of my money in buy real estate. And I want to buy a bigger house because I want to have my kids in it and raise them and all, nonetheless. But when my kids marry and I'm left alone with my husband, I will sell that property, take the equity, and go somewhere else and downsize. You downsize to either a condo or an apartment, like Jose is talking about, and you either invest that so that you can have a sustainable retirement, or you can just go and travel the world. It's whatever you want to do, but it's a long-term smart investment that's not going to go anywhere. Real estate will remain being very rentable and very a very valuable asset because people will always purchase homes, always.
Mhm.
Now I want to welcome all aboard. I don't know if she's here. She commented she was going to get the door in 1 second, but in the meantime that she's here, um, I want to see, I see 9 people here with me. Please hit the like button. That helps me grow my channel. And also, it doesn't cost anything. I see that Truth Teacher is leaving. Thank you for joining, Truth. It means a lot to me that you're here. You know, I wish you could have shared your knowledge a little bit more with us when it comes to history and other things. But if you have something to do, well, go take care of that. So love to you.
Mhm.
So like I said, Jose, is very interesting to see other people, especially Latinos, doing the move that you did and becoming homeowners with the right mindset, because a lot of us come into that with the wrong mindset and then we end up being screwed over because we don't understand the concept of mortgage, we don't understand equity, we don't understand a lot of things. So like I said, I appreciate that, you know, you put your testimony out here on how, you know, you invested in real estate and your plans. Like, I admire that.
Well, the fact of the matter is, it was time for me to have my own place. I was living with my mom uh, just about all my life, and sooner or later, I had to leave the nest. And
Yeah, we all do. Trust me. You want to
okay,
have your own space and, you know, be
But
yourself.
it's important also to utilize those resources, those community resources, as long as possible. I'm not an advocate of people saying, "Oh, you need to be able to move out as soon as you turn 18, as soon as
Oh
you turn
no, me
21."
neither. I moved out of my mom's house at 25.
Right.
And not to be messed up, right? But I did not know the way of the land here because you guys know I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So when I left my mom's house, I left even the country and I came here to the United States. And it was a very hard road because then I picked the most expensive state to live in, which is California.
Exactly.
And, you know, I came here. For those who don't know my backstory and had not watched my interview with Radical, I will link it down below so that you guys can get to know me a little better. But I came here with only $500. And I had to make something happen in 2 weeks. I only had 2 weeks to find a whatever job and start building from there. And 8 years later, here I am.
And you were
you
blessed
know.
as well. That's why when you were speaking about the issue with Puerto Rico, are they going to be independent, or are they? There are some benefits, right? But I
Yeah.
don't know if the benefits justify the result, because America is not keeping their part of the deal.
No, no, but you know what's crazy, all aboard? I'm pro independence. I'm pro emancipation because there's so many, they're regulating even what we eat. And when it comes to that, we have a middle party that's basically our ruling class. That's how I decide to call them. That's basically pandering to the United States to a degree and not using their power as they should, because it serves them a purpose, which is enriching themselves, and they don't care about the results for the people, which basically translates into young people like myself. Millennials had it the worst in Puerto Rico. Because we finish college and you realize, hey, there's no company that will hire me because a lot of corporations are leaving, and the corporations that are coming in are not necessarily Puerto Rican friendly. And what they want is to have the minimum amount of employees and pay you shit pay.
And
You can't
I
make it.
notice, I'm not positive, but are the taxes in Puerto Rico, or is it the same as in the United States? Or because I
They're a little they're a little bit higher, I
higher,
would say, when
yes.
it comes to sales tax.
Mm-hmm. So
And
you
also,
that.
if you want to start your own company, you have to do clever moves. Like I said, I will make a stream dedicated to like how to make business as a Puerto Rican diaspora. Because if you plan on establishing your business in Puerto Rico, you have to take specific steps so that you don't find yourself in a sticky situation when it comes to taxation. Because companies like Monsanto, Bayer, and stuff like that, they get a 90% tax exemption from our government because they're foreigner companies.
Mm-hmm. So there's a
But Puerto Ricans, local companies, small and medium businesses have to pay super high taxes to actually operate in the island. How do I know this? Well, my dad has a 32-year long business relationship with Puerto Rico. He established his company when he was 27, and he's about to turn 60. His company is still going. So
I
I've
was
seen
listening
him go
to
through taxation, to the 936 regulation of manufacturing. I've seen him dealing with the IRS, with Suri, with everybody, and it has been very, very, very tough. So, like I said, you have to make specific moves so that this doesn't necessarily affect you in, what you're going to generate as a result of your business, and you don't end up losing money.
Well, that's something that American people, especially white American people, do that is really effective. They utilize the laws because they write them, right?
Yeah.
So it would be advantageous. For example, I'm not very familiar, but I know in Dominican Republic, a lot of times maybe you form partnerships with a foreigner, right? So that
Yeah.
you can take advantage of those tax laws and the loopholes. So I think that that's something that maybe you can delve into as well. Like, I don't know about today, if but or another day, but I'm very curious to learn how to use connections, right, to be able to save money and to be able to grow your business.
Yeah, I can give you a few tips. The main thing that in the Caribbean, at least, messes up with your earnings as a business owner is the middleman's. Once you minimize the middleman's, which means, for example, let's say I'm gonna get into the business of selling eggs, and I'm gonna have like 1,000 chickens, and I'm gonna have daily, I don't know, 12,000 eggs. And what I would do normally, the normal route that people that do this is that they will sell those eggs to a third party company that does the packaging. And that company buys the eggs, the dozen, from you at, let's say, $1, or let's say 40 cents, for an example. But because of the packaging and the cost and the labor that they're putting into this, they will price it at $1.50. Now, when they're going to sell it to the company that distributes them and has the connections to the grocery stores, what they do is that they sell it for 150, but then the company that distributes the packaged eggs is that they will price the dozen at 180, just for taking them from the packaging company to the grocery store. So they make 30 cents per dozen. And then when they sell it to you, they sell it at 250 at the grocery store, because the grocery store also needs a cut from that earning. And that's why the cost of food and many goods in Puerto Rico is skyrocketing. And let's not even forget that 80% of our food is imported, which means that we can only use American chips to bring in our goods. And also we have to pay the hefty taxes, and the prices for importing those goods is higher because we can only use American chips, thanks to the Jones Act. So my recommendation would be eliminate the packaging company, eliminate the middleman that distributes this to the grocery stores, and you do your own simple packaging without so many things, and you directly take them to the grocery store, or you sell them yourself, so that you don't have to have the hefty prices, and also that will attract more people to purchase your product because it's underpriced. Therefore, you will make more money out of your egg industry. Does that make it clear?
It makes a lot of sense. But this is the thing as well. We have to be okay in knowing that we are good enough, right? Because there's so many things that we feel like we have to do things that other people do, and then now people are profiting off of it. Because there's a sandwich in the Bronx, in Harlem. It's called a chopped cheese sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about it is that this sandwich is just something that's sold at the local bodegas, right? It's nothing expensive. It's just food. You know, if you're coming home from school or something like that, you can buy it. They actually started to sell it at Whole Foods for much more money. They started to sell it in Brooklyn at these expensive restaurants for maybe like $11. A chopped cheese is how much, was it? You're from New York.
Okay, actually, this is the first time I'm hearing about such a sandwich. I really wouldn't know.
Well, it depends on where you're from, but a chopped cheese is probably gonna be between $3.50 for the roll, or like maybe like $5 maximum for like a hoagie. Now they're selling it for $11 and $12.
Oh, good grief.
They are, and that's just capitalism, you know. So we have to understand that being simplicity is actually profitable, and it's better. You don't need fancy packaging to sell eggs. You know, you need good quality eggs. That's what you need.
Of course, you can sell these eggs, for example, and have them packaged very simplistic or in a bag with a sticker, and just sell them, to be honest with you, because they will be more natural. They will be, and eventually some of your earnings, you could invest them into packaging properly. It's just the way you start and how willing you are on actually networking with people that needs this in mass numbers, like grocery stores, restaurants, food trucks, bakeries, people like that. How willing are you to make these connections to these people and actually sell your product? Because that's also clients that you're making. But people nowadays, like I said, for some odd reason, this type of education has been kept from us, and a lot of people have lost interest because they assume that it's not something that's attainable. And that's why we have the numbers that we have in poverty in Latin America and also in our diaspora, because you could also make this happen here in the United States if you're willing to do the legwork and the networking.
I think part of the problem is like a vision, and determination. I mean, in my case, uh, I had a goal. The goal was to get my own place and to buy my own place. And, it was a process. Um, as far as getting all the paperwork done, as far as getting, the needed certificates and things of that nature, and then trying to find a good real estate agent to work with. I had to change agents like 3 or 4 times before I finally found one that I could work with. And so happens she was Boricua. And a very,
Yay!
and a very good one at that.
That's good. I'm glad you went the Boricua route.
Yeah, because okay, well, please take this in the spirit that it's given.
Okay.
Okay, because I had one person that was Dominican. And it's crazy because when you think of Dominicans, you
No
think of
Dominican slander. I will not tolerate it. Don't
Oh,
no,
come
I'm
on.
just saying. No, I'm just saying. When you think of Dominicans, you think of people that are go-getters,
Yes.
hardworking, that they will never stop until they achieve their goal. Okay. Forgive me for saying this, but this dude seemed to be the most un-Dominican I have ever met. If you understand what I'm trying to say. I mean, because I'll be texting him information regarding property that I'm interested.
Well, it's
And
not
he
a
just said,
monolith. It's not a monolith. But you traditionally, yes, hustlers would be the first word that comes to mind. But some people they don't have the skills.
agree. Okay. That's why I said the way I said it. I mean, because, I mean, Dominicans have a reputation of go-getters. Okay. I will say that. They are go-getters. They will not stop until they achieve their goals. They're very energetic. Okay. I just ran across one that wasn't so. But so be it. I actually got my property, which was most important.
Yeah, that's your it's something that people feel like, when you're something that I have learned from my friend. I will also add his YouTube channel on the description box below so that you can go watch him. His name is on YouTube is I am Dima. He also started a new channel which is Real Estate Simplified.
Mm-hmm.
I will add it in the description below.
Mm-hmm.
But something that he has explained a lot is like, don't be afraid of getting an agent that's different from the one you're working with, because at the end of the day, this is a business and you have to look for the options that you need instead of just trying to be loyal to a broker that is not necessarily helping you, or that it's not showing you the properties that you will be interested in, or that are cheaper because they want to get a bigger commission. There's
Mm-hmm.
many things in play when you're getting into real estate, and you have to be only loyal to yourself. So like I
Yes.
said, I admire Jose for being very clever into his investment, because there's no loyalties in business. The only loyalty is to
No.
yourself.
The only loyalty is your own interest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's about being assertive. Because being assertive is something that I wasn't born with. I learned that, right? Being
Yeah,
assertive to get what you need. It's okay to be able to say no, this offer is not in my best interest.
of
There's
course, of
nothing wrong
course.
with that. And I think a lot of times when you're coming in as a minority, especially, there's already different challenges. But one thing that a lot of people, I don't know if you spoke on it because I had to get the door.
Hmm.
There are first-time home buyer programs and loans. There's a
Yeah.
lot of options that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we're not aware of.
That's true because actually I got my down payment grant through District Council 37, which is one of the big unions over here in New York. They have a first-time homeowners program, and what they do is they do an assessment. You need to submit your documentation, your bank statements, your tax returns, your credit cards, and then what they'll do is they'll pre-approve you for a mortgage. Okay. Once you have that pre-approval, then you can actually do some serious searching, and then you take a look at over 300,000, and that was in 2017.
Yes, it's very expensive. There's a guy that I know. He owns a brownstone. He's an older guy. He wants to sell it. Please let me be the first. Let me get in on it, because the brownstone, that's gonna go for like $1 million.
Yeah. So then I thought about Queens. Queens is just as bad. Staten Island was too far, and you can forget about Manhattan, which left the Bronx. And I know people have a certain fear about the Bronx and everything like that. I mean, crime can happen anywhere. And actually, it's the Bronx is like the last area that you can kind of afford.
The final frontier of New York. No,
yes,
it's too far.
Yeah, and for what I paid for my 2-bedroom in Parkchester now, you're not going to get a 1-bedroom for the same area. You're not. The apartments. That's a 1-bedroom in Parkchester. You can easily pay over 200,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
If you're talking about a 2-bedroom, the minimum is 250, 260, 270, or you can be almost as much as 300,000. So with me, I was blessed that I was able to get my apartment at the right time.
Right. And the apartments are bigger.
That's insane.
They're bigger than in other boroughs. In Brooklyn, the apartments are so small, and you're gonna pay twice as much, maybe, for the same space. Like or Manhattan, to get a parking space would be, when I was there before, it was like you can pay like $1,000 just for the parking space. That's just so you can have a legitimate place to park your car.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. The apartments here in Parkchester, the rooms are big. The bedrooms are. The bedrooms are huge. Huge. They have nice walk-in closets and things like that. And these buildings are well maintained. These buildings, many of them are like 80 years old. So, and actually, there's an interesting story regarding Parkchester. It was a planned community for the people returning from World War II. And at one point in this area, it was 100% banquito. It was. You know me, Denise. You know me. I'm gonna keep it real.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know.
But now it's mixed. You do have like 1 or 2 white people left. There's you have some Latino, you have some African Americans, you have like a huge Asian community over here.
Mm-hmm.
We have a pretty strong Muslim community.
Jorge is saying Portchester is a big Mexican community. What do you think about that?
No. I would not consider it. I'm sure there are Mexicans living here, but a large portion is African American.
Okay.
You do have a sizable Latino community. You do have some Dominicans over here. They live over here, believe it or not. Also, you have an Asian community. So unless he actually lived in Parkchester, is easy for him to make that comment. I don't mean to cast any shade.
No tea, no shade.
Talk your shit.
No tea, no shade.
Okay, and you know what? And people say, and see, and the thing is, I actually live here, so I can.
Oh my God, you're throwing major shade tonight.
Low
I've
blows,
never
low
seen you throw
blows.
shade.
Oh
Well,
Lord.
it's okay because you know what? Once in the last stream I had with Christina, when she did the interview with Sid, someone said I was actually thirsty.
Oh wow.
You
I
were
was like,
thirsty.
no.
No, I was
Thirsty.
waiting to see if you were gonna be thirsty because they were
Mm.
so beautiful. So I was
No,
like,
but you want to know something? Something I would say about Jose is that out of all of this YouTube universe, let's call it that, right? That you're the most respectful male in the Latino community, aside from radical Latino, that I have spoken to. You never come at us personally. You never try to throw shade or call us any names. You don't come in with any thirsty comments or nothing like that. You always come here with good vibes, and come here with like good info, and very respectful. So I always enjoy your energy on my stream, definitely. So no thirst there.
I absolutely agree. You're always a delight. Whenever you join the stream, you bring a sense of calm
Yeah.
and information, tranquility. It's like good vibes, like she said.
Yeah, it's
Well,
only good vibes.
well, at the risk of saying the same song again, you can thank my mom for that.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay. No,
You are always
and I
right.
mean it with all my heart. And actually, this past weekend was the first time I was able to visit her grave since the funeral. So, but she's in a better place. And the fact of the matter is, my mother lived to be 86 years old.
yeah, that's a pretty. Oh my God, I hope I can make it to 86.
Yes.
With God's grace, you will. But
Thank
you know
you.
something. But you know something. Not to change the topic a little bit. I did see the debate that you had with Chi Chi. Or
Oh, you watched it?
yeah, and let me okay. And first of all, if you're going to debate somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you better be prepared to back up what you're saying with facts.
Yes.
Okay. So when you get into some of the, I'm trying to keep it G-rated because I'm a Christian.
Keep
The
it
crap,
good vibes. Keep it good vibes.
the crap
Yeah.
that he threw your way.
The comebacks are weak as hell. I yet to meet an intellectual person that is willing to debate me on the talking points that I express. Because me, you and me, Jose, have debated too, but it's always very intelligent, very educated arguments. It's never what can I say? Empty things that are just your emotions. It's always facts. What you brought that time that we debated over a topic, and it's like I said, like I'm waiting for a person that's willing to have a conversation with me where we can both exchange ideas that come from different spots, different corners, and we can actually go one on one. I'm waiting for that person to arise.
Here's the thing: you
I
will
have a
never find them.
feeling.
And when you do, until that time, use me because I have no problem being in the mud with them. Like I have no problem. But until
Uh,
then, you will never find them because only intelligent individuals can have conversations without resorting to that. Like that's it.
if I can just chime in, the fact of the matter is, I'm sorry to say, Denise, you're going to be waiting a long time because, and I say this in all kindness, okay, because you know me, okay. Now the fact of the matter is, the fact that he assumed that he know you, and I'm not going to claim that I know you, okay. Now I'm familiar about certain aspects about you. And
Oh,
based on what I'm able to observe, I'm able to come to the conclusion on the following. First of all, you are extremely articulate and very
thank you.
intelligent. And your fiance better appreciate you. Okay.
Right? He better be ready. No, I'm
Because if
joking.
not, I'm sure, well, anyway. Also, you are very pro-Latino.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Okay. And you are well versed in what you talk about.
I
And
appreciate the feedback. I live for that
mhm.
because a lot of people, I've heard claims stating things like, oh, you just like the bullshit, or like this and that. And like Chichi, for example, he was like, oh, you're what he said. Oh my God, I forgot so
That
much
you
about
are not,
Chichi.
that you
He
don't have a
said,
social security number, that
yeah.
you're an undocumented
That was so
person.
ignorant. Why was that was the most
That
that was so ignorant. Puerto Rican,
I
just
think
be
he was
talking about.
reaching because he found himself, diving into waters that he did not expect to dive into.
that is
I
so
just
that
feel
is
so that he's so ignorant. That right there showed me that showed me everything about his brain. That showed me everything I need to know. If he doesn't know that
and
that we're a citizen, like, oh my God, I can't even talk to him. I would just go.
and
Can
and
relate.
and you know something, Denise, and even when we did disagree, as you know, and one of and I was concerned about it because remember I actually came, because I was concerned about you taking it as a personal attack. It's just that you was just I was expressing a viewpoint.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give you an opportunity to amplify that further.
Oh, yeah,
And
and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like I said, I love when people have different ideas and different solutions than the ones I brought, because sometimes it can feel a little lonely when you're trying to educate people in something that you see from afar that it's lacking because you have lived through it yourself. And when you see people coming at you and trying to say, things like that, you're like, well, I appreciate that your emotions take most part on your assessment, but at the same time, it does not solve the problem in Latin America. So
no,
that's
it does
why I
not.
always get frustrated when I see like, okay, then now they're calling me the N word, or all kinds of insults and
But
stuff.
listen, that talks about his mindset because he's making fun of someone about a social security number, something that really affects his people. He's Mexican, no?
Yeah, he's
That doesn't
Mexican, for
affect
what
your
I know.
people. So I don't like that's like an ignorant thing to say. That's something it shows like that's he's really talking about himself or his mother, his
Yeah,
father,
yeah.
his aunts. This is a real
Look,
problem.
Jorge said, Denise, you should debate Chem 1 to 3. Jorge, I don't know Kim like that. I know Kim based on what he did to Christina.
Yeah, that was another crap show as well.
Exactly. I'm
And
like,
I'm sorry, and I have to and I have to say, and I have to express my 2 cents on that as
go
well.
ahead. Go off, Jose.
No, I mean,
Go off.
first of all, she is 100% Dominican.
Of
Okay,
course.
okay. Number one. Number two, she is well versed in what she talks about. Okay.
Yep.
She is not just a pretty face. She's not here to try to get likes from a certain particular aspect of the community. It says that she is another strong female that has her opinions on certain topics. And again, it goes back to what I've said on the earlier stream. Some people fear strong women.
Yeah, I'm starting to agree with your assessment on that one, because it's like I said, it's like, and it's something I said also on the interview with Radical. I believe that the problem with us speaking up about things is that it's coming from a woman's voice. And in reality, it's like I even said on that interview, I will not be doing this if there were more strong Latino men taking, the mic and the time to actually speak about what is important. And that's another topic that I wanted to bring here. And that's why I talked today about Nayib Bukele, because it's so refreshing to me to see that a strong male millennial in Latin America took charge of his country and decided to make something happen. Now, it could be wrong, it could be right, it could be the best thing for El Salvador or the worst thing for El Salvador. But you know what? You know what's worse than that? Not doing anything, which is what has been happening for so long. So, like I said, it's very refreshing to see that a man is standing up for his country and for what he believes is right.
And if I may continue, the good thing about a strong lady is that she helps us to get a reality check. And when you have the support of a strong female, you can face the world.
That's beautiful to hear you say that. You can build
Yeah.
when you have the right woman. You can
Jose,
build.
when are you starting your own channel? When
Please.
are you, when are you
Oh,
starting?
you don't want me to start my own channel. I mean, there's so many men out there. I mean, I'm just a person with half a brain. Trying.
No, don't say that. Don't
Don't
say
say
that.
that. Don't say that, Jose. No,
A man with
you're
half a brain would have not pulled, would have never pulled what you pulled with your real estate agents. So trust me.
no, you're a good person. We can all tell. And we need more people like you, because you, like, men like you are productive in society. Then you have other people that are violent and ignorant. I want more Jose's in the world. Please.
Yeah, more Jose's and less misogynistic pricks.
Let's
Now, I want to welcome Rakim, because he joined the stream on his, let's see his 2 cents about what are we talking about. And I also want to welcome Melanated Night, my king, my baby.
welcome everyone.
He's watching, so thank you for joining. I know he's working a lot, but
Mhm.
he managed to make it here. So Rakim, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, Denise. How's everybody doing today?
Good
Good, good.
evening.
Good evening, all aboard. Good evening, Jose. I've been watching the stream and just thought I'd join.
Good, good. Now, let's start from topic number one. What do you think about the election of the lobbyists that are going to be, quote unquote, fighting for statehood for Puerto Rico?
Yes, I got a chance to see you speak about that, and I think that is going to be good as long as who's ever fighting has the people's best interests at heart. Because one thing I've noticed from Latin America versus the United States has an issue with corruption and power as well. It's just that the United States are better at camouflaging it, camouflaging that they have the people's best intentions versus people in the islands of Puerto Rico and in Latin America where they never really had like a civil rights movement, a fight for the poor. So it's just outright blatant corruption, and it shows that it's just about greed and money
Yes.
on behalf of the government with a lot of those countries, especially with what's going on in Colombia and people that's suffering from famine and living in
Yes.
poverty. So
Exactly. That's why I don't know if many of you guys have known, but lately on, I've been keeping my Colombian flag as a background because that's something we can never forget. These people are still fighting for this. And I
Mhm.
hope that if you guys catch my last stream Thursday, I brought the info on how to donate and help, our Colombian brothers and sisters, But to be honest with you, Rakim, did you saw what Najib Bukele, the Salvadorian president, did?
No, I didn't. I just saw that you were speaking on it. I haven't
Yeah,
really been keeping up with current events, so I just saw what you were speaking on it. And can you
that
refresh me on that again? On what he
well,
actually did?
basically, he got fed up of the corruption of El Salvador because I don't know if you guys know, but El Salvador is one of the poorest countries
Right.
in Central America. And when I mean poor, is they're poor. Okay, when you see Salvadorians here in the U.S., trust and believe that they're coming here because their country is really in shambles.
Yeah, and
If
I've actually seen that as well because you'll have a lot of Salvadorians that'll travel through Mexico, and
Yeah,
they'll sometimes
they're shot
they'll
at. They're
yeah,
shot at crossing
exactly.
Yes,
the border, the Mexican border. That they're being shot at because they have to. They'd rather risk their lives and be shot at, you know, in the Mexican border and then in the U.S. border, rather than just keep gambling with their future. So what this man did is basically that he fired everybody. Like for example, to compare it to the US, as if Joe Biden got fed up of the oligarchy that we're living in the United States, and he fired Nancy Pelosi and the House of Representatives and all the Senate. And then he decided that now he fired the Supreme Court and the Senate, and then now the House of Representatives will decide who's the Senate and the Supreme Court justices. So basically that's what he did because he got fed up of them just pandering to the rich and powerful. So he decided to make this power move where he decided to replace these people that for a long time have been calling the shots in El Salvador and messing up with the people's future. And when he ran for president, he did it independently and he promised people that he was going to do something like this, but nobody saw it coming on those high places because they thought they were untouchable. And now he did this. So what's your take on this move that he did?
Well, I think that's great, and I actually saw you speak about that, and you said that he's actually a millennial. He's 35 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct?
38,
And
38.
38, and
Yeah.
that's great that you need people in power that really have the people's best interests at heart. Because how can you operate a country when the people are living in extreme poverty? And it's people that makes these countries run.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of the politicians, especially within Latin America, don't care as long as their pockets are being lined, and as long as they're in cahoots with the high elite rich class that's paying them. That's the only thing they care about. While the people are suffering miserably, and that's great because that's really the definition of a politician. You need people like him that has the best people's the people's best interests, that are looking to get people on their feet to be able to sustain themselves, to be able to live a decent life without worrying about not having jobs, without worrying about how they're going to feed themselves and their families, and just living in complete squalor.
Yeah, yeah. And also, you know what I've seen lately, people that are not from El Salvador making like very negative remarks on his power move. And I'm like, it shows that the problem with Latin America, it's the politicians, but it's the people that choose these politicians. A lot of people complain about them, but in reality, the least you could do is voting for the right person. Even if you don't have the right person running for the presidency of Latin American countries, then why don't we run? Why don't we become that face? Because like I said, if you don't see the change that you want to see in your country, then you have to become it. And it's like I said, people that usually complain, oh, like, I don't like this about my country, I don't like this, I don't like that. Then why don't you run and do it better? And that's what he did. And
Exactly.
that's an example. To be honest with you, all eyes are right now on El Salvador from Latin America, because if it works for him, if it works for El Salvador, and he makes El Salvador prosper
Oh, it will be a
A lot
and
of
problem.
their
countries are
It
gonna
people,
will be
follow
a
suit.
problem.
it's
If it
yes.
works,
They're gonna
it's a
follow
problem.
suit.
Here's the thing: there's gonna be pushback for his decision. There's pushback whenever the
Yeah.
elites are.
Whenever you try to go against the grain, it's always pushback.
It's gonna be
True.
pushback, and the way that they're able to keep the system going is because it takes the elite. They're gonna shut that down. Now they did the same thing as well in South Africa, where they're saying that, listen, colonizers are not supposed to have the majority of the wealth. That's fair. You're not supposed to exploit the resources in El Salvador. You're not supposed to. Like,
Yeah.
people don't even have basic infrastructure, right?
And
So
and
businesses and corporations that are going to these other countries, right? They're
Yeah.
exploiting their resources. They're giving nothing back.
and
Who's in
exactly
control of that?
and what you're saying all aboard. And one thing that we know that the rich elite bank on is fear. They bank on people's fear. And what Denise was saying about the gentleman in El Salvador, it only takes one person that has the heart to be able to rise up against the opposition. And usually we know that a lot of people, some people don't have that heart, so they just wait to see if it's going to be dire consequences to his actions. And then once he's successful, then everyone's going to say, we can do this too, or we can apply that same blueprint to Colombia. We can apply that
Right.
same
We can do it.
blueprint to various other Latin countries, and then they're gonna have a
Well, we
revolt.
have the numbers. That's something that's so important. We have the numbers. We just don't have the unity. We don't have the education yet, but we're getting educated more and more. But the elite, they don't have new ideas. It's the same thing over and over. We have to pay
Yeah,
attention to these things.
imagine if we copy paste that, for example, in my island, Puerto Rico, if we were to get rid of that, we will solve probably 75% of our problems. I'm not even making this up. Like, the majority of our problems come from that. Like, even the impunity in feminicides come from these two branches of government that perpetuate the impunity of people committing this type of crime. So, with that being said, have you guys ever heard of how in Latin America the racism in Latin America is translated into classism?
Yes.
Instead of that, means that you could be white, but you could be dirt poor too. And what that means basically is that the system actually, and the establishment, persecutes the poor and punishes the poor, but panders to the criminal, rich, and powerful.
I
So if you get rid of these two branches, you
mhm.
will solve so many problems in Latin America that are currently affecting the population and making us come here to the US to actually make a living.
Something that I noticed. I don't like the fact that they created all these problems, right? But then
Mhm.
they also punish people for going where the wealth is. Listen, you
Yeah.
exploited resources. You exploited them. You created poverty. You created different systems. Don't worry about people trying to come to America. Don't worry about people trying to go to Switzerland or Europe. You created this problem, and then you get mad when people want to come and get a piece of the pie. That's not fair. And so I think the sooner we educate ourselves, for one, I would suggest everyone be educated. And then I would.
Look, I want to highlight what Jorge said. Jorge said, I'm sorry, I support statehood all the way. America begins in Puerto Rico. It's symbolic to America. Ponce de Leon is buried in Puerto Rico, the true explorer who landed in Florida. Well,
Why would you
Jorge,
think so?
this is the thing. I understand that you support statehood. Now, if you don't live in Puerto Rico, how would you know if people actually can afford statehood? because that's my number one worry. I'm not against you for supporting statehood. I believe those are personal ideals. However, I'm thinking about the masses. Right now, there's 2.8 Puerto Ricans living in the island, and among them, there's almost 500,000 of Dominicans. And I highly doubt that they can afford all the things that statehood will bring, including federal taxes, on top of what they're already paying, including all the insurances that they will have to pay, including the fact that they will never be the owners of the land like they are right now, and many other
Exactly.
things. So that transition from being a free associate state that we have right now with it, ELA, to statehood is going to be very costly. And right now, we cannot afford that. We simply can't. And we will see famine happening in our own island. I can
And
almost guarantee you that.
and
And
because
you can definitely see that after the hurricanes in Puerto Rico, what happened with it, with the U.S. owning, Puerto Rico, a lot of Americans, well, mostly white Americans, have come in and gentrified parts of Puerto Rico, and
absolutely that's
taking
happening.
land and taking land from people in the island, and have pretty much put Americanized companies within the island of Puerto Rico, but not for the benefit of the Puerto Ricans on the island.
There's a
That's
thing.
the bad tourism, Rakim, that nobody wants to talk about. I don't know if you saw, like, during the pandemic, that people were criticizing African Americans for traveling to Puerto Rico and start doing like crazy things like dancing, walking out like butt ass naked, and all of these other things. But nobody criticizes that we live under a dictatorship. Okay, nobody criticizes the 936 law. Nobody criticizes all the gringos that are coming to Puerto Rico, these white Americans that are destroying our natural resources. We just saw last week how Jake and Logan Paul moved to Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago, and they already killed half of the tinglares, which is like a national turtle that is an almost extinct type of sea turtle, and this is
Mm.
their
Oh my
nesting
God.
season. And he decided that it was very nice to run his car through the whole beach, even though it's protected. He broke the tape and drove right through it because he did not consider our natural resources important enough, and he wanted to have a cute video for
I,
social
I
media.
can't
But
wait for Mayweather. Mayweather. I
nobody
hope
talks about that.
with the natural resources. That's the thing. There's a thing called it's like tourism. There's a guy that I know from a long time ago that he was explaining to me like the business side of disaster. There are people that travel to places that are experiencing an earthquake, like hurricanes. They go there and they make money because they know there's like government contracts that come with it. So there's like, and it's mostly gringos. That it is, right? But
Yeah.
they're exploiting the resources and the tour the poverty and the tragedies, right? We need to be able to help our own people.
Right, which we know there's a history of, a lot of especially, of course, we know not all, and I'm not trying to put everybody in one box, but we all know that a lot of white Americans have a strong history of capitalizing off of the poverty of marginalized groups, and
Mhm.
especially with various countries and parts of Latin America, parts of the Caribbean islands, even Africa, where they go and they pretty much exploit the people of that land, and use the resources for their own financial gain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, like even now with the agriculture that they're calling us lazy, and that we don't want to work, and we don't. This is the thing, and this is my take. Okay, we are known for our agriculture. The problem is when you're a colony, right? You have to cut through so much red tape to actually make something happen. That what's happening is that our corrupt legislator and also our House of Representatives in Puerto Rico decided that it was a cool idea to give this foreign companies a 90% tax exemption when they come to Puerto Rico through the law 20 and 22. What does that mean? Well, it means that basically when they come to Puerto Rico, it's a tax haven. You don't have to pay taxes in 90% of the stuff. And also, you get free water to grow your crops. Now, I can go to Puerto Rico, grow my crops in there with free water that the taxpayers are paying. And we would just say the way they bill it is like, oh, this month, instead of paying the $40 that you pay on water, we're going to bill you 160 because you have a salidero. And in reality, you don't have it, but they have to justify how they're billing the water that they're producing for these large companies that don't pay for their water. And on top of that, there's 600,000 acres that are dedicated to agriculture and are supposed to be for Puerto Ricans, but our corrupt government is giving it to these companies to actually have more access to seed, because that's another thing they control. If you have let's say 2 acres of land, you can only buy so much seed. Otherwise, the Department of Agriculture will not authorize that sale, and that would be considered illegal. And that's how they keep Puerto Rican agricultures starving and eventually make them sell their lands and work for these corporations that are not Puerto Rican.
But listen, Denise, there's also a thing. They're doing that in America as well. That's why I always say the game plan does not change. Monsanto is doing the same thing in America, and they're pushing out small farms, and you have to buy their seed. And it's big corporations because they have the money to be able to lobby.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's the oligarchy that I've been talking about. Like, we don't live in a democracy anymore. It's an oligarchy where corporations fund your favorite politicians that like to smile at you and tell you cute things during election season. And then they're not telling you that they're getting millions of dollars from this corporation so that they can create laws that benefit them and screw us.
Yeah, we live more in, like you say, more of an oligarchy and a plutocracy. Everything is about money. And one thing to keep in mind is that, because I know you guys was talking about financial literacy earlier, one thing that a lot of Latinos and African Americans have to understand is that a lot of white Americans are in competitions with themselves over money. Some can be, do very cutthroat business, and a lot of people are looking to further advance their financial state. So therefore, if the competition is too thick within my own group, I'm going to start exploiting other groups that I deem to be, less intelligent, or have a lack of knowledge on what we're doing, and don't have the funds to actually combat what I'm doing. I'm going to start exploiting those people in order to further my financial gain.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I don't know if you guys saw, I think it's the FCEI. They removed, there's a regulatory system in the United States that controls how much money politicians can get from donations. They lifted those restrictions. I think it was $5,000 or 1,500, something like that.
I believe that was under Trump. He did that.
Now, yeah, it was a few years back. Now they lifted that, and that's what created the oligarchy. Because now you can make $3 million donation to a politician and tell them, hey, I want you to create this opportunity for me. An example of that is the company ID.me. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, but ID.me basically is a beta interactive identification software that Americans can download the ID.me app, upload all of their identification documents like Social Security, your birth certificate, your driver's license or ID, and you only have to do it one time. But if, like for example, the DMV or the EDD or the court or the IRS demands or requests that you provide proof of identity, you will just go to the link that they provide you. It will take them to your profile in your app, and you are verified. Now, this company is a beta company that was started by this man, specific individual, and the way he funded his company was that he went to the government and say, hey, I want to provide you with this tool. I'm still experimenting because it's beta. And, I want to experiment on the American population. And they made him a lot of millions of dollars, gave him and fund his company, and they make Americans be the lab rats for his company. And he tested it on us. And even if it failed in our time of need, nonetheless, because you had to get this done for EDD, for example, the unemployment system that we all had to go through, or the PPP loans, or all this stuff with COVID-19, you will be forced to use ID.me. Otherwise, you will not get your PPP loan or anything else. And because it's still an experimental company or software, it has a lot of glitches and problems. So imagine millions and millions of people trying to fight this beta experimental software when they need money to feed their families. But they don't care because this man probably is giving them a cut or doing something under the table in a backdoor deal that we don't know anything about.
But that's the thing. We all have to take 2020. It really showed me a lot.
Yes.
It showed me a lot. It was really an equalizer. If you really think about it, everyone around the world is going through pain and trauma. Everyone around the world is kind of like level. We need to see that the elite, they thought that we could live off of $1,200 for 1 year. Tell me how that would work in New York City, Miami.
No way. If I can just chime in on this.
Go ahead.
Okay. When you think about countries like in Europe, what they did was they shut everything down, but they gave the citizens a monthly check to live on until things get, things get relatively normal. Unfortunately, in this country, first of all, Trump screwed up this whole pandemic. He did a real screw up job. And here we are in the richest country in the world. And we cannot give like a monthly check for needy people until this pandemic is over. And the sad part is, out of the close to 600,000 people that died, a lot of them were Black and brown people.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, a lot of the people that lost their jobs, Black and brown people. The people having problem paying their rent and their mortgage, Black and brown people. The people who are struggling to get food, Black and brown people. And the ones who have the least access to medical care,
there you go,
Black and brown people. And in the richest country in the world. And that's a crime.
It is a crime.
And I'm sorry, if I get a little emotional, I hope you forgive me. It's just
no, continue. Go off.
No, I mean, really, if I was president, what I would do is, for 3 months or 6 months or whatever, I would shut down everything. Make sure that everyone get a monthly check, whether it be $2,000, whatever, $2,000 a month. So at least that way they can pay their bills and they can have have some sort of substance. Because the fact of the matter is, no way on earth $1,200 is going to last you a year. Particularly,
1 year.
Okay, particularly if you live in New York, and this is the thing that upsets me more than anything else. 4 years ago, the Republicans they used this budget resolution to get billions of dollars of tax relief for the rich. So then when Biden comes in and he wants to bring some sort of financial relief, and then he decides to go through budget resolution because the Republicans don't want to do anything, then they're crying, oh, Biden doesn't want to be doesn't want to work with us. Oh, he wants to work with the Democrats. I mean, come on.
I'm
And
not
McConnell is saying so. His plan is to put a monkey wrench in everything that Biden is trying to do.
But I'm not pro any party because
Me
listen,
neither.
I
Me
want
neither.
them to work for the people.
I agree.
They're sitting there. They're getting $3,388. I could be wrong, but because I don't remember the number. But they're getting that every month, no, every week. But they're telling us that we're supposed to survive with $1,200, and they're
We should have put them. We should have
actually-
put them on the $1,200.
They should be doing anything, and they're telling us that just tells me. Wait 1 second. That tells me rent should and mortgage should not be as expensive. The price of grocery should be cheaper. If they're thinking that we can survive on $1,200, then why is gas going up? Food going up? Why is it so expensive then? Why does rent and mortgage cost so much?
Because they're trying to make money out of us. I don't know if you guys saw what the Pentagon did last year before COVID, when they got a hold of the information that there was a potential pneumonia-like virus having an outbreak in America. When they got a hold of that information, they did not disclose it to the public. They went and put their money on the stock market on things that they thought we were going to need, like hand sanitizer, toilet paper, alcohol, masks, gloves, and all of this stuff. And then they decided to disclose it to the people. So when people crowded the Walmarts and the grocery stores, they made money because the stock came up, and they made a lot of money out of you and me, out of our misery.
And they knew it was going to happen ahead of time, and they were able to invest. We didn't know this was coming. They knew. And there were some politicians, I believe it was Nancy Pelosi, right? I think that she had some sort of thing with stock. I don't want to I could be wrong. Somebody fact check. But I believe she, one of the politicians in California actually made money, right, off our misery, like Denise is saying.
Yep.
So I'm not partial to any party. I don't care about Republican or Democrat. I care about what is serving my interests.
And if I may continue, look at the effort to try to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, which is basically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I mean, and then it gets killed. Why? It gets killed because you have certain Democrats that did not see a need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And in fact, Kristen Sinema, who is a Democrat senator from Arizona, I don't know if anybody actually saw the video, when she went out to cast her vote to vote no, what she did one of these and then did a curtsy. And it's like, Dios mío, ¿cómo es posible que esa persona que tenga, que no tiene sentido? I mean, it's like, what the, and I'm trying not to curse.
But what the hell?
I mean, it's like,
go off, Jose. Go off.
Go off.
But okay. Well, this is a rare night because I usually don't get into a rant like this. But It's a question, and let me tell you something. I don't see myself as aggressive in any way, shape, or form, but I do see things in what's right and what is wrong. Now, I know people might think I'm a little bit whatever because I see things in black and white. Okay.
Mm.
But the fact of the matter is, in the richest country in the world, there should not be people that don't have a place to live. They
Yeah.
should, I mean, we should be able to feed our own people. Okay. We should be able to make sure that people get decent medical care. Okay. If we can spend almost $800 billion, um, defending this country, we can spend some of that money to take care of our own people. And actually, I never thought I'll be actually talking like this, but when I see some of the crap that's occurring, and particularly with this pandemic, it's brought out the best in people and the worst of people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, and when I think about the people that were killed simply because they were black and brown. Now, let me tell you something. The reason why I say, please be safe, there is a reason why. First of all, there is a thing called pandemic. Okay. So, and if people are not careful, they can get COVID-19. And we already, I mean, almost as many people that died of COVID died in the Civil War. And then when you have people who are killed simply because they're African American or they're Latino or they're Asian or whatever, okay? So when I say, please be safe, I'm not just simply saying that just to be nice. I'm simply saying, be safe because there's some sick people out there. And I
No,
apologize.
and not only that, Jose, let's just not forget the fact that in America, we're the richest country. However, somehow, according to the Silicon Valley report, right, we
Mhm.
have 578, I believe, by 578 people that are homeless. And I'm like, how do we have over 500,000 people that are homeless in the richest country in the world?
And they
How does that
allow
even
it because
happen?
it's normal in California,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah,
It's
they make
literally
money. They make money. Look, there was a judge that, because last year by October, I believe, a lot of the homeless needed to move from parks and under the bridges. That's what they determined. However, this judge decided that cops cannot be misplacing people after the Echo Park protest. Cops cannot be misplacing people from where they are or forcing them to move out if they don't have a place to live. So by October this year, they have to provide the over 180,000 homeless population we have here. They have to produce them a home by October. And can you believe that the state of California is going to fight this? They want to fight this in court. They don't want to house the people. And I'm like, how so?
and
When
that's
you
the
look
thing.
at
They're
when you
not
look at
helpful.
Finland, look at what Finland did. Finland had the same problem, and they did the home first, I believe, home is first or something like that. It's a program that they did, and they only have, I believe, less than 1,000 homeless people. They housed everybody, and I mean everybody. It doesn't matter if they're on drugs, if they're on alcohol. They did different stages for people that are homeless, like some that are in addiction and do not want to get clean, live in a specific trailer park designated for them, and they no questions asked. If you're trying to recover, then they'll move you to a different facility where you will get an apartment. And then if you're a family or an individual that is clean and is just looking for employment and just find the housing process to be too difficult for you, or you're dealing with depression or whatnot, then you live in a condo that they provide for you until you're ready to move out of there. But you're not forced to move out of there
But let's be
because
honest. The whole homelessness is people are making money off of their struggle. That's the only reason, because it is much cheaper to just put them in a little house than to pay people to clean the streets, to deal with the tax on on the healthcare system, because a lot of the people that are addicted, they end up going to the hospital. You know, that's a tax on everyone. It is much cheaper, you would think, right, to just house them.
And if I can just chime in, what's crazy, and I cannot speak for Los Angeles, and I cannot speak for Florida, but in New York, I mean New York City, they will pay to house a family in a shelter $3,000 to $4,000 a month. When what they can do is provide half that in a housing subsidy, so at least people can have a chance to afford an apartment. And that's so insane. And I'm thinking, what little hair I have left, it's going to become completely gray or gone because I'm thinking, and it's like, so you're paying $3,000 a month to house a homeless family in a rat infested whatever, but you would not provide a housing subsidy for half that.
I've seen where
Yeah.
those people, like people have provided tiny houses where they build houses for homeless people. The city tore them down, right? They got rid of them. But I think the biggest problem is mental health, right? Because
Yes,
them
yes,
that make
yes,
it there.
yes, yes, yes. I agree. I agree because people don't want to face the fact that there are people that have mental issues.
And we
Okay,
closed down the hospitals, right? During
and
the Reagan era, the war on
and
drugs became the war on poverty, the war on poor people. But they're making so much money off of people being poor. Because why does one person, Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, why do they need that much money? That is weird to me.
It is.
okay, but you know what it is when the almighty dollar becomes your idol. It's quite easy, easy. You could be obsessed. And then when it comes to dealing with mental illness, that's something that I can talk I can talk about because I did suffer with depression. And actually I never told anybody about it for years because unfortunately in society men are not supposed to be depressed.
That
Men
is
are not
true.
supposed to cry. And if man is depressed and the man cries, the man is woefully weak.
I know, I've seen it.
Yeah, me
And
too.
and, and the fact of the matter is it wasn't until like maybe 3 years ago that I was able to publicly acknowledge that I did suffer with depression.
And that goes to show like how the country does not care about the men,
No.
because they're supposed to provide for men avenues for them to get an assistance when they are going through like hard stuff. Like if you think about it, like
And we
imagine
wonder
if the
why
same
black men.
job that I think somebody has feedback, but I'm gonna mute you guys while I talk. But imagine that the same place that employs you and puts you to so much stress will also have a counselor in house for you to actually have access to it while you're going through like hard stuff. Imagine that you could clock in, or before you clock in or after you clock out, you could go see a counselor that is paid for your employer. Imagine if the United States government could make that a requirement for doing business in the nation. We will have less suicides, less domestic violence. We will have less men working towards bettering themselves. We will have better builders of our society, because men are the ones that build the commodities that we enjoy. So the way I see it is like it's exploit men all the time, right? And don't provide for them any outlet, because they're just using the men as an unlimited resource that never ends. And that's why men lead in the statistics of suicides, because there's some men that really cannot afford another day of being strong to satisfy society. It's too
Well,
much pressure and no
well,
outlet.
there is, and that's another thing. Men are the leaders of violence. But I always said this. That's because men, like when you talk to a man, a lot of times their outlet is to punch something, right? They punch a
Yeah.
wall because they were never allowed to be able to be emotional. It's okay to be emotional, Jose. That's normal. What's
Yeah.
not normal is to suppress your emotions, because these are things that your body is telling you that you're feeling. So I'm very big on emotional, like being expressing yourself and being emotional, because that's normal. But then you have men and women that tell men that, oh, don't cry. You can cry. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing.
Yeah. And look at what Melanated said. He's like, Melanated Knight said, he said, Denise and I are working on a show with men's mental health. That's a topic that a lot of people will not touch, but needs to be addressed. We can't continue down this rabbit hole where our men keep being, the only outlet they have is to cry in the shower.
Cry in the
We
shower,
we
punch the
can't.
wall, punch something, hurt themselves. Now you hurt your hand. You broke something. Now you have to bite again. Like that is not productive behavior. But that's what we expect from men. They can't
No.
say you you made me angry. Let's talk about it, or I'm gonna cry. That's not acceptable in our current society.
Yeah,
No.
they're not supposed to say, I'm frustrated, I can't take it anymore, I feel like giving up today. Nothing. They just have to keep it going, and men can take anything, because men are supposed to, quote unquote, be made out of steel. That's the rhetoric that has been pushed for many generations, and we've seen the effects of that in our men.
And if I may chime in, when I was finally able to get to the point when I was able to confess, it took a lot of effort on my part. And basically, I just broke down and cried. It's just that because there's also a lot of shame involved, because unfortunately, men are not supposed to cry. Men are not supposed to be weak. Men are not supposed to be emotional. But I mean, just dealing with the fact in my lifetime, I already been to seven funerals, and I went through two funerals in 1 year last year. And you add a pandemic. I mean, that's stress on steroids, and you know, maybe it's going to take a few men like me to say it's okay for men to cry.
Thank
It's okay for men to be emotional. It's okay for men to say I need help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
for sure, for
exactly.
sure. And we have to also highlight the fact that, a lot of these men are getting into studying the male psyche and the mind, the brain, to actually find the answers that they cannot find in society. Now, I want to highlight what Melanated Knight said. He said, when we do the show, I would like some men to come on the panel and share their experiences, because we need more men speaking on their experiences with depression and other mental health issues. For sure, Jose, join in whenever we launch it, so that
And
you
older
could
people.
talk about this.
I think there's so
Because
many things that have.
even even going back to what people were bringing in, before, during the stream, some of the things that I've seen from this man, that usually go uh against me, is that their mental health is crippled. You can tell because they have no dominance over their emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and they react instead of acting, and that shows that that person has a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and depression that has not been worked. And what the brain does is that it compensates with other areas, and that's what translates into this erratic, chaotic behavior. So like I said, it's something that needs to be spoken about.
I want to say something. Um, I think that a lot of when I deal with these guys on a personal level, they're completely different than they are on like a stream, right? And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it is mental health or just needing an avenue to express their emotions.
Yeah,
Like,
no, and not only that, there needs to call for attention, because many of them will come and try to quote unquote debate me, but in reality is because they need attention. They're probably not getting attention, and they get like an outlet. Now you see what men that are more center with their emotions communicate. Look at Jose, for example. Look at Melanated Knight, for example. Look at Rakim, for example.
you can
There's
talk.
many, even Radical Latino and Bro Tep. You talk to them, you can't even disagree with them, and they'll still try to address your points and have a conversation,
Some
because
people don't
you can
understand.
tell.
Yeah, you said that you can actually gain some knowledge from a woman. You can, but that's just all just their thinking where they've been trained this way, right? They've been taught this way, and a lot of the damage has come from women.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's another layer of
Mm-hmm.
mental issues, which is, you know if if we look at, and it's something that I'm working to put together, because people demanded this. It's a popular demand. I'm gonna do on June, I'm going to do a 4-part series of mental health, and how the mind morphs when you receive these attacks at home. Now, like I said, this is a subject and many people are very skeptical to touch because it's so delicate, but we have to speak about it because we're seeing it every day all
I'll
around
speak
us.
on it, and I am a proud card carrying feminist because
I'm a reform feminist though.
no, but I'm not really a
Um,
feminist because it goes against like the original purpose. It doesn't exist anymore. What were you gonna say, Jose? Sorry.
I don't consider myself a feminist, but I do believe women should be equally paid for work that men do. I do think women should be highly valued. I mean, we do have exceptional women that had lead nations, um, women in the Supreme Court. So we have, all throughout history, exceptional women have done some amazing things.
But
I
we
don't
some
think.
women are not worth anything. You have to remember that too. There are some women that tear down civilizations, and
Mhm.
usually most problems it comes from the influence of a woman. What do you think about that, Jose?
Uh, I believe it's possible. I mean, that's why I'm going to keep saying it again. When a man is blessed with a very good woman, they can together they can conquer the world.
Yeah.
When a man has, I don't like to think of it in terms of good and bad, but when a man has a woman that leads a man to a destructive path, I mean, they can, it does not bode well. And I'm gonna share something I've never shared. The last time that I thought about committing suicide is because a woman broke my heart.
Wow.
Okay,
I'm happy you
but
didn't do it. Don't do it
but
ever.
no, 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 no. But like I said, um, it is my faith in God while I'm here. Okay. And but yeah, a woman actually, actually broke my heart, and it broke it really bad. Um and you know, actions can hurt in so many ways. And sometimes we don't think about the actions that we make. And then we wonder why people act the way they do.
There's
Yeah,
power in words.
there is, and it's like I say, it's crazy because even if you are with a person that it's not necessarily with you or that you're leaving, the fact that you don't even care about their mental state after you, it's insane to me. It's something that I can't really understand, and it's kind of weird because it's like you're leaving them there to their own devices, and I already got what I wanted from you, so now I'm gonna walk away and I don't care, and this is the result. That's why many women find broken men right after they just came out of a relationship that was toxic, and they have to take the burn of it, because many women destroy men. That's their own agenda that empowers them in a very toxic way, which is, oh,
Yes.
I broke this man to pieces. And we have to deal later on with broken people. And that's why I'm an
Women
advocate for
in
always saying, if
society.
you're a broken person, take yourself to therapy and take yourself off the shelf from being with somebody, so that you don't keep damaging the good men and women that are out here.
But
And
something, the
someone
good.
damaged them. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Someone
But
damaged.
see the good. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Jose, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut in like this.
You didn't cut
But
in. What?
well, like I said, I was told manners. That's but the good thing is, like for city employees, you have things like EAP, which helps people when they're dealing with personal issues. And also, my union has a crisis intervention program, which is staffed with social workers that helps people deal with their issues. I mean, when I was dealing with my mother's illness and her passing, I decided to, I was gonna go, and I actually got in contact with, with the crisis center program with my union to give me some counseling, because I was dealing with a lot of stuff. You know, First, like I said, my sister passes away, and then my mother passed away 6 months later, and then I have the burden of dealing with with my mother's effects, and then dealing with all the other stuff that I'm, dealing with, and then what's the sickest thing that happened on the day of my mother's funeral was that one of my nephews, who never bothered to see my mother when she was alive, asked for his father's picture.
Hmm.
When I saw that, and forgive me for what I'm going to say, if it wasn't for the fact that it was a funeral, I would have smacked the living shit out of him.
Sometimes people
And
need
then
to
dare
get
him to do
smacked.
something about it.
Smack. You should have smacked them. Sometimes people need to
Okay,
get smacked. You
okay,
don't
but
always have to be the sweet guy. Sometimes you can smack
okay,
the shit out of somebody.
you know what? Okay, okay, you know what? It's just that I try to take the high road, and sometimes it could be to my detriment.
But that's when you get like that's when you don't address things in depression or in life in general. That's when it comes back to hurt you.
Now, we have derailed a little bit from the topic. I want you guys to give me your input on the number one thing that's keeping us poor when it comes to keeping up with the Joneses, and also this whole crazy virus of buying expensive cars, even though when we can't afford them. Do you think, it's something? And I want to hear from Rakim on this. Like, what is the whole fever of showing off for people that don't care about us?
Um, I would say, oh, and I'm sorry I had left out you guys. I had to run take
No,
care of
it's
something.
okay. It's okay.
Well, I would say it has part of it is because okay, we all are Americans. We live in America. Part of it is the marketing of consumerism to us in this country, and part of it is low self esteem due to the fact that a lot of us are in poverty. It's one thing to be in poverty and like let's say you're living in the area where everyone's kind of like know each other and everyone looks out for each other. Is one thing to live in poverty and live next door to wealth. And you have a lot of people, especially in this country, we live in poverty, and we're constantly told through the media that if you don't have these things, you're not worth anything. So a lot of us base our self-esteem on that, and you have a lot of people that want validation through these things. So we go out our way to purchase these expensive items such as vehicles and jewelry and designer just to boost our self-esteem by getting validation from other people.
Basically. And do you think, Rakim, that social media plays a role on it?
Yes, but even before what you're saying, Denise, even before social media, television played a role in that.
Yeah.
Before social media is pretty much now television unedited,
On steroids.
on steroids, uncensored, everything. So
Yes.
but you just think about all the things that has been marketed to us. A lot of people want that. A lot of people want that validation, and then some people actually do believe that if you look like that you have money, you will attract money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So some
Say
people
something.
think,
After you finish, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
oh, okay. I was just gonna say, so you have some people that, because of course, this is the country of capitalism, uh, and we live in a very judgmental country. So, it's people judge based off of what you have and what you don't have, where you live, what type of car you drive. And, sometimes that get the best of people. And it's also a lack of education on financial literacy. See, we don't understand, growing up that we're in a competition to, to actually live a comfortable lifestyle. And, a lot of other people that have higher education and, live in, more, more lavish areas and various things like that. They're taught from the beginning that, as children that, you have to have this, you have to be able to provide this. You come from this circle, you don't intermingle with, a poor class of people unless it's to take advantage of the fact of what they don't know and, to, increase your wealth more. So
Look at what Jorge Rodriguez is saying. He said, I'm always financially reckless when I'm buying concert tickets. I always buy for my friends and I'll get super expensive seats. I easily blow like anywhere between $400 to $900. That's basically, and I want to ask you, Jorge, do you do that because you feel that, that will impress your friends? Do you do it because you're just thinking about the moment? Or do you do it because like, you really don't care about how much money you spend, even though, or even if it puts you in a tough position financially? Because that's another thing. Many of these investments, and let's not forget, you can be stable today, but you're one incident away from losing it all, because many of the times we calculate expenses without taking at least 33% of our income into savings. And I'm speaking from my own experiences. Even, sometimes we don't foresee emergencies and have an emergency fund, and then when an emergency happens, then it destabilizes our spendings, because we have so many things that we have to pay and divide our paychecks into, and they become things that will translate into debts.
I
And I want to know more from what Jorge is saying, like if this is a position where you think you have been into.
I think that is like it's that probably is complicated because probably one like see I would do the same thing. There's times when I've done things for people. Money is not okay. He said it. Respond to him because he I can relate to you, right? I think like for me, money is not as important as the moment, and I think that goes back to being an indigenous person. Like I care about taking care of people. Capitalism is not natural for indigenous people. That's not like common. You understand? Like so you might blow money because that's not really our system. The system is family, friends, enjoying the moment. Yeah.
So he said, look, he said it's a moment thing, and I use my friends to drive to the concerts and buy beer and food. Yeah, it seems like a trade, but unless they're buying you like 10 filet mignons, how do you get your $900 back? Like,
And then you're
it's
gonna be
not a fair
broke to
trade.
peace. You'll be broke.
And
Yeah.
like I have to agree with all the board said. Sometimes it's about the moment, and like she was saying, being an indigenous person, even with me being African American, a lot of us are not. We don't. A lot of us don't understand capitalism. So once we have some money, it's almost like we just want to be able to buy what we see a lot of people who have the means are able to buy, just to feel good for that one moment, because you have a lot of people that work hard, a lot of people, some people are struggling, and you might look around and everyone that you interact with and everyone in your family is struggling. So that plays a part. And like
And
I
you could
said
be
once
dead
before,
tomorrow. You could be dead tomorrow. That's another part of it. Like
And
when
not
you
only that, that's one thing that I want to touch is the fact that sometimes when you're in a plane and before you take off, somebody's giving me feedback. Okay, so I'm gonna mute everybody. But every time you get on a plane before you guys take off, the flight attendants tell us that before, if in a case that we will need an oxygen mask, they always tell us put it in yourself first and then help others. That is something that it's also I consider us getting us poor or keeping us poor, because sometimes we see our family members and we're like, oh, I have to cover this expense, I have to help them with this. And there's nothing wrong, I'm not saying that you cannot help your family. By all means, help them. Now you have to count that into your budget. Like if you can only give them $100, then that's the only thing you can give them. If you give them 200, then you'll be in a sticky situation, because you did not factor in that something can also happen to you. So when you're helping others, you have to factor in how much can I really afford to help. And we have all been here, trust me. We have all been through it. We have all done this where we see somebody that breaks our heart, seeing them struggle, and we give them money that we probably could not afford to give them. But we have to also learn from that, especially us Latino folk and African American folk, because we are literally at the bottom in America. And our families, we see them struggle, and we have to come up with solutions that can actually solve their problems, rather than just be producing money we probably don't even have for ourselves. So we have to think about that before we're giving money away, because like I mentioned before, money is time. And we often be sending money to our families and to our friends and not factoring in that we're going to need that eventually. So we have to protect our money, if that makes sense.
that's a very good point, Denise. And I'm still learning the lesson because I love helping people, you know? But that's a very like you said, they tell you you cannot save someone else if you are if you have no oxygen? It's just common sense. Once
It
you learn
is.
that lesson, you'll be able to act better. But I get calls all the time from my family in DR, and they don't even realize how difficult it is in America, right?
Yeah.
Like literally, sometimes their quality of life would be more pleasurable for me, like to have a farm and just be peaceful and not have to deal with all the craziness in America. But
Right.
And that's one thing. That's one thing that they, when a lot of people are living on the islands, that some people, relatives that may still be on the islands don't understand, because a lot of people look at America as, the big, the land of dreams where everyone has money, but some people don't realize how expensive it is to live here. When some of their relatives arrive here and see how it just costs money just to breathe
yo,
in
you
Yeah.
need to
America.
get nothing here. Like everything is ridiculous. This is like
Everything is money.
it's
Everything
the
it's
worst.
money here.
That's why we have to promote financial literacy, because this is BS. Going back to the $1,200 thing, if they thought we could live off of 1,200, why is gas so much? Why is rent so much? Why is
Yeah.
mortgage so much? This is ridiculous. Why are taxes so much?
And not
They-
only that, I'm gonna go back on something that Jose said before about, the $15 minimum wage. Let me tell you something. The inflation that we have faced since the 70s. In the 70s, you will get paid $900 or like, if you were like upper middle class, and the cost of your mortgage will be like $300.
you could
if
get
you
a
were
house.
if you were a minimum wage if you were a minimum wage, your house will cost like $78 to $80 if you're renting something cheap. Nowadays, which was a third of your income, if we're going to translate that same inflation to today, the minimum wage should be $24 an hour.
I'm saying,
And they're still struggling with
and that would be with
putting
working
it,
hard.
but look, they're still struggling to give you 15, when in reality that's negative $9 an hour that you're getting.
Listen, I looked up something. It was talking about Puerto Rico. It says the congressmen in Puerto Rico only make maybe about um $30,000 less than the other Congress people. Why?
Because they like to feed themselves from the bigger spoon. Look at what Blood Moon said. Blood Moon said, my mom purchased a house in DR instead of investing here. That was a mistake. How is that a mistake, Blood Moon? Expand on that. Because the way I see it, look, I'm moving myself back to Puerto Rico next year. And like I said, if you do the right moves, the quality of air, the quality of food, the quality of the people are better in our countries than they are in America. That alone, with the pollution we have here, that alone will make me purchase a home in DR rather than here.
Well, they always say go back to Africa, right? That's like a popular thing. They love
Go back to your countries.
go back. Like stop giving her. I'm not gonna give my labor to this country. No, I'll go
But
back.
what do you mean, Blood Moon? What do you mean about, that you think that was a mistake?
I like we have to learn their laws because they made them. We're gonna have to learn those laws and exploit them because they're not that smart. I'm telling you. Every time I interact with these people, they're
Yeah,
so
not only that, it's like I said, it's like becoming this corporate literate in, whatever we're doing, and take it to our countries. Now I see more people are coming into the stream. Please press the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me a lot. So if you have not liked the video, please hit that like button now. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna start wrapping this up because you guys know I like to keep it under 3 hours. I don't want like too long streams. But Blood Moon responded and she said, "My mom." Hold on. She said, My mom passed away and never got to live there. Oh, now the house is lingering over there. I have to sell it and find it annoying. Yeah, I understand. If she passed away and never went there, then yeah, I agree with you. That was a mistake.
Rest in peace
Now,
to your mom.
yeah, rest in peace. I'm sorry that your mom passed away. I believe that if you're not gonna live it, then why the hell are you going to purchase a property over there? Like,
I just
if you're not
think
going to take the benefit of it, then why are you investing your time? Because like
keep
we
it.
say starting the stream, your money, we have to start looking at this. I don't know if you guys watch the movie Time. That movie basically explained to us what money was. Money is your time. Every hour that you spend working, you get paid a certain amount of money. And when you put it towards something, you're investing your time, the time that you could have been spending on building yourself or doing something else. You put
Or
it
being happy.
towards something. Now, if you're doing what Blood Moon said her mom did, her mom put the money towards a depreciating asset that she did not got to enjoy. So I agree with her when she said that was a mistake. Now I see that Sundown is here. Everybody, how's
Nice
everybody
enough.
doing tonight? I'm good. Morena says, "Hola, hola, Morena." We're in the process of wrapping this one up, but I'm glad that you guys made it. Now, what I wanted to say was that we have to understand this depreciative assets instead of depreciating assets. I'm sorry, instead of just investing in them. Why we don't save that money, be more conservative with our spending, and then either invest that money or do something else with it, like to put it towards, like Jose said before, towards real estate or something else. Because, like I said, cars, for example, that's the worst asset you can acquire. And to be honest with you, that's the worst investment because it's a depreciating asset. And unless you have an LLC that you know properly with a tax consultant or a tax specialist how to write it off, where you can end up paying anywhere from $80 to $100 per month, then I don't know why you're buying an expensive vehicle that is just something that takes you from point A to B. It's something that needs to stop. And we just saw earlier today that the average American spends $565 in a car payment monthly. And most likely in 5 years, you will replace it with a new vehicle that will cost you the same. So it's a never ending spending. When, like I said before, you can let the person that's buying the new vehicle absorb all the interest rates and all the depreciation of the vehicle the first 1 or 2 years, and then eventually purchasing the used vehicle. That's why I believe on buying used vehicles is the best avenue for you to invest in this, because you're still going to end up using some of your money into repairs and maintenance and insurance and all this stuff, but you won't have to absorb the loss of that depreciating asset that is a vehicle. Now, Blood Moon says she was planning on retiring and living there. My aunt and her husband also built a house over there. They lived there for 10 years and got sick, had to sell and come back. Well, I would not come back. She said, I recommend investing in the US. That depends on your
No,
plan.
I
That depends on
would
your
firmly
plan.
suggest keep every land, like all land, the property, keep it. Land is something that is you can't duplicate it. Keep it. If
Not
I
only that, instead of
was
selling it, Blood Moon, why you don't rent it?
yes,
If
because
because she already made the investment. Renting it will be something better because it gives you, like a never-ending
it's
source
an
of
income.
income.
Okay.
Yeah, just go over there, take like a week or two, put the house together, do the backyard, the gardening, whatnot, painting, whatnot, and then find somebody that can rent it, depending
Uh,
on where it's located.
excuse me.
Go ahead, Jose.
No, because actually did a little calculation. Because if you take $500 a month and spread for 5 years, that's $30,000. That's enough for a down payment on a condo or even a house.
Yep. And now imagine that we make this purchase every 5 years. You
The
know,
money
every
is only
five
going to
years
go
we
up.
throw away $30,000. That's a year investment. That's a year of work investment, because the average American makes $31,000 a year. So you're basically in 5 years burning 1 year of work in just, one vehicle that you will get rid of instead of just keeping. Because if you're making a one-time investment every 15 or 17 years, then I can understand why you're buying a $30,000 car or a $35,000 car. But if you're not, then why the hell are you doing this investment? And let's not even talk about the interest rate, because the interest rate will add up anywhere from, if you're getting like a 2% interest rate, it will add up to probably 1,200 to 1,600 in interest on that vehicle. However, like I said, it's crazy, because some Americans will get 6% interest rate, and that will be almost $5,000, and even more depending on the life of your vehicle. Now, if you think about it, let's not even talk about, you know how are we doing this every, like I said, every 5 to 6 years for no apparent reason. So, like I said, instead of that, invest in assets that can make you money, like Jose stated at the beginning of the stream, like real estate, because real estate will always make money eventually, even if we go through a dip in the home, in the regular or like average home value. Eventually will pick up. Look at what happened in 2008 and what's happening today. In 2008, your house was worth shit, and today, if you were to sell the same house, that was under appraised, because you will end up paying more for the house you were sitting in than the actual value that house had in 2008, because of the ninja loans. Now, if you were to wait till today to sell your property, the market has skyrocketed because there's low supply but higher demand. So if you were to sell the house that you kept from 2008 today, you will have a lot of equity, which is what makes it a long-term investment, not a short-term one.
And I'm sure that when I do decide to sell my apartment, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to get at least minimum 250,000, maybe 300,000, because when you think about it, I mean, the average, I found out in one meeting among the unit owners that the average median price for a two-bedroom apartment in Parkchester is $231,000 minimum.
Yep.
So, so you imagine 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I mean, I can easily get maybe 300,000, which means pay off, finish paying off the original mortgage, completely buy like a one bedroom condo in Connecticut for about maybe 100,000, and I'll have money left over to whatever I want.
Yeah, and not only that, if you do like minor work on the bathrooms and update a little bit the cabinets, which is like a small investment, you can make even more money you can get more money than the asking price, because that's what people looks in to actually determine if your property is updated. It's the bathroom
And
and the kitchen. So if you do like minor work yourself and just update that before you sell, trust me, you will get top dollar for your property.
Mm-hmm.
and don't be ashamed to remove all ethnic um things from your place, because there was a thing where a woman, she was appraised at like maybe one third of the value. She was a black woman, but her husband is white, so she was able to, when she got it reappraised, she removed all the pictures, any trace of being ethnic, a minority.
Mm-hmm.
It went up 3 times, I believe. Right? So don't be ashamed. Milk the system, get the money, but I do not suggest any minority sell real estate. Keep it,
Rent it.
rent it.
Rent it and have it as a source of income, because like I said, it's something that never stops. People will always need a place to live. It's like food. You will always
Mm-hmm.
need food. So if you're going to think about what to invest in, I would say those two things are the most guaranteed when it comes to investments. It's money, it's I'm sorry, real estate and food. Those are
Tangible,
two
it's
Yeah.
real
basic needs.
property. Do
Yeah.
not,
So
Blood Moon, do not sell it because if you look at the trends, they're going over there to make money. We need to be the people making money from our land. Do not do that, Blood Moon. Keep it.
well, she's saying that basically she doesn't like going back and forth because in
Oh
the
my God,
art,
you
if
can
you
hire someone. I know people. Hit me up.
it depends. If it's in Santo Domingo, I know people too. So
That's what I'm saying. Don't do
hit
it.
me up. Hit me up.
And because the one thing that's important for Black and Latin people to understand as well when we're talking about property is the housing discrimination. You know that a lot of Black and Latin people need to be aware of because without you not understanding finances, without you not understanding mortgages and the way that housing work, it's easy to get duped into signing your name, on a particular loan for the home, and you end up getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah, for
Well, that
sure, for
caused
sure.
the collapse of the entire housing, like the economy, the U.S. economy, 2008. That caused the collapse,
Yep, I
right?
was just gonna say that. Yep.
Yeah. So,
But this is an opportunity. Look, the collapse of the real estate that's about to happen now should make people understand that now it's super cringe to see people right now buying these properties. Why don't you just wait with your down payment till the market crashes in the next year or two and then purchase an investment property like a multifamily or like a townhome that you can live in there and rent the other space to somebody, and then you can live basically rent free or mortgage free until that gets paid off. And you can also write it off because the depreciation of the property, you get a tax exemption from it. So wait till the market crashes now. If you don't own a property, if you're a renter, do not purchase right now. Wait till 2022 or 2023. The market, I can guarantee you, is either at the very least being apocalyptic, is going to go into a correction because of the amounts that we're seeing houses are going for and how they have skyrocketed right now. They're going to be devaluated probably in the next year or two. And that's the moment to actually purchase if you're doing intelligent purchases right now. And like I said, buy investment properties that you can make money off of and it doesn't come out of your pocket.
and if you have
So,
land, if you have land that you already own, if you have a property, do not sell it right now. That is not a smart move, I don't think. I think that it's gonna like property is gonna go up so high because it's a limited resource.
yeah.
It's limited. It's gonna go up. Wait.
It goes up and it goes down. It's like I said, when it
Mm-hmm.
goes down, it's time to buy. When it goes up, it's time to sell. It's not even that difficult or not even that deep. We just had to learn the system like other people do and be ready. Now is the time. If I want to leave people with something today, now is not the time to purchase vehicles or purchase anything. Now is the time to collect all the money that you can get so that you can make this investment in the next year or two, so that when the market goes back up, you can be set. Either if you want to get rid of that real estate property or you want to do some investment into it and turn it into a property that you're renting out and become a landlord, that will be the time. But now is the time to get that second job, get that part time, or start doing that Uber. And also, if you're doing it, learn how to write off the mileage and the vehicle that you're using for that, right? Start taking that side hustle so that you can put that money aside, and then within the next year or two, invest it in an investment property that you can rent for future generations. And eventually, let's say you get into an emergency or you have a problem in the future, you don't have nowhere to live or you're a little unstable, you can always come back to your property. So, like I said, for everybody that's listening right now, like I said, that this is not a time to spend. It's not a time to go blowing money. The dollar is about to depreciate too because of all the printing and the inflation that's coming behind that. So now is the time, and I don't mean to scare you. It's just you have to strategize right now. Now is the time to actually save money, have it put together. If you want to invest it in somewhere like the SP 500, or you want to invest it in the stock market, or you want to invest it somewhere else, or even invest in real estate, you can also do that if you reach to a real estate broker. You can also do that right now, so that when the time comes and the market crashes, you can purchase a home and for a lower price. Or even if you're looking for making your first home purchase, that will be the time. Now it's not the time. So with that being said, I want to hear the closing statement from Jose, Olabor, and then Rakim. So Jose, what are your final thoughts on today's stream?
Well, first of all, as always, I thank you very much for being gracious, allow me to participate and to share my 2 cents. And I think, if we ever going to get out of this situation of being poor, I mean, we have to have a vision, we have to have direction, we need to have discipline, and we need to have a plan. Because when you fail to plan, you find you plan to fail. And again, I just want to say thank you for another great stream. You always give a lot of great contact, and it's a shame that people don't value your wisdom.
Thank you, Jose. And like I said, I always appreciate you coming to my stream. You have become one of my loyal supporters, and I appreciate every time you come and share, your experiences with either mental health, your mom's background and her teachings, or what you have gone through in your real estate ventures. I appreciate everything that you bring, and like I said, it's always good vibes. And like I said, I appreciate every time you come here. So thank you very much for joining today, and I hope to see you soon. This Thursday, I want to make an announcement. I will not be doing a stream Thursday. I will be doing it Friday because I have something coming up Thursday for me in my personal life. So I won't be available Thursday, but Friday I will be here at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So set your reminders, or you can also click on that little bell next to the subscribe button, and it will notify you when I go live Friday. So
May I ask what's going to be the topic?
I would rather not say.
Okay.
I think people are not gonna
All
love
I
it.
say is, well, you got thick skin, so. And that's all I'm going to say, because it sounds like it could be one of those topics where
Friday it's going to be wild. I can guarantee you, because I always want to start the week with a more, inspirational topic, but then I tighten the screws later on in the week.
So we can
Friday
be
stream
on Friday.
You don't want to miss Friday's stream. That's all
Okay.
I'm going to say.
Okay.
Everybody listening, you do not want to miss it.
Okay, and I hope you forgive me for getting on my soapbox earlier tonight.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Jose,
Yeah, don't ever apologize for that. No. Always, it's nice to always get in touch with that side of ourselves. So never apologize for that. So thank you, Jose. I hope to see you Friday.
Yes.
And bye.
And please be safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take it easy, Jose.
Now, all aboard. And Rakim, who wants to go first?
I don't know. It's up to you. But I have
Go ahead, Rakim. What are your final thoughts on today's topic, starting from El Salvador, Puerto Rico, and also the number one thing that's keeping us poor.
Okay, well, my final thoughts is what's going on in El Salvador and Puerto Rico. As we can see, it's very important to understand what how corruption and greed really affects Latin America, and how corruption and greed really affects a lot of countries in general. And what you're seeing is pretty much an exploitation of the poor, and you have people, just because a person gets up there and say that they have your best interests at heart doesn't necessarily means that they represent you and they have good intentions. And from what you can see in El Salvador and Puerto Rico, and shout out to the politician in El Salvador for having the pride and the guts to be able to stand up and fire everyone within that cabinet that was pretty much
Hold up,
doing.
wait, fighter.
Shout out to Nayib.
No,
Nayib.
never mention fighter.
No, he's talking about Nayib. All aboard.
Okay.
Chill on, fighter.
No, 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 I'm talking about Naive. Yes, Naive.
Keep going, Rocky.
And for him being able to fire everyone within that cabinet, and we another thing Black and Latin people have to understand is that we have to watch people's actions. We have to watch people's actions, because what a person says and what they actually do is something that's completely different. And it seemed like a lot of people fall for the okie doke when it comes to politics, and it's a lot of undercover corruption and greed that's going on behind the scenes. So those are my thoughts on that. And on the island of Puerto Rico, I'm all for the independence of the island, because the island is currently being exploited by the United States, and the fact that the pros do not equal with the cons. Right now, you have the people on the island of Puerto Rico that are currently having a land taken, areas that are being gentrified, working for practically pennies, if they are even hired to work in some of these American-based companies, and that doesn't weigh out being a United States territory. So also my final thoughts on the what's keeping us poor. I have to follow up what Jose said. You have to have a plan. You have to teach your children about financial literacy, and you pretty much have to understand moves that you're making, and understand how to save, because like I said before, it's a lot of consumerism, but that's marketed to us as Americans, in order for us to buy people's products that make them richer. And Blood Moon says, the comment Blood Moon just said.
Oh my
Blood
but
Moon, trolling. Please stop trolling.
but
her trolling is creative. I'll give her that. Continue, Rocky.
but if when you all get a chance, it's a video on YouTube that you all should watch called how to market to the American Negro. And it's actually a video from the 1950s that shows that you have a lot of people that capitalize on minority self-esteem to be able to market their products to them, whether it be high fashion, vehicles, various things, to make them feel, make them have some type of, validation, and feel that they're not looked down upon based off of, coming from generational poverty and lack of finances. So one thing, my last thing that I'm going to say is like what Jose was saying, Denise, appreciate your platform. You're a very intelligent woman. I got a chance to watch your debate with Chi Chi. You have a lot of wisdom. You're able to cover a lot of topics, and you're definitely a pro-Latin woman, which is more than what a lot of people online who have these channels say that they're pro-Latin, but they seem to only talk about their disdain for African Americans without having any type of knowledge on what's going on even in their countries of descent. And I just appreciate you having me be a part of your platform.
Thank you very much. And that's the same thing I've been saying. It's the fact that there's a lot of things happening in Latin America that, even though they call me insignificant in my channel, it's funny that only people from other communities and the minority of us in these YouTube streams can appreciate the fact that I'll be bringing actual news from the ground in our countries, and it's crazy because, like I said, they claim to be high adore me. They claim to be pro Latin, but in reality, what they're doing is just constantly juxtaposing the African American community against the Latinos and vice versa, instead of just focusing on what's happening right now. Like I explained with El Salvador, Puerto Rico, these things are happening all across Latin America. Look at Colombia. And we're not focused on that. We're focused on just comparing ourselves to African Americans instead of just focus on what's ahead in our own community, which is why they never win a debate with me, because they actually have and they actually have no intentions of actually doing the legwork that it would require to build a strong community of us Latinos. So I
Yes, can I just say
appreciate
something?
you.
Can I
Yeah,
just
go
say one
ahead.
more thing? I just
Yeah, go
wanted to
ahead.
say what all the boys said on the last stream that I have visited. African Americans are not Latin Americans' enemies, but I've noticed you have a consistency of, Latin Americans, and not just Latin Americans, but a lot of people come to this country who want to compare themselves to African Americans to make themselves feel like they're closer to whiteness. You see what I'm saying? And it's a lot of anti-blackness based off of media and various things, that and a lot of people don't really know African Americans history in this country. And
And not only that, Rakim, not to cut you off, but in reality, and that speaks volumes about low self-esteem, because many African Americans will believe that this comparison, and even though my channel is not about doing the same thing they're doing, but many African Americans don't know that and miss the point when it comes to what this Latin haters are doing, because I don't consider them pro Latin. Pro Latin people are the ones, the Latinos that I see working to better our community out there. But what they're doing basically is just comparing themselves to people that are at the bottom of the pit with us. And to be honest with you, like I said, we are no better than you guys. Our community is just as broken by white supremacy, and it's just as broken by the establishment. So the reason why they do this every day is to make themselves feel better by putting you guys down, and that shows and speaks volumes about their low self-esteem.
It's
yeah.
So
better
make no
to be at the
mistake.
bottom.
And I just
Better
wanted
to
to say
not be
one
at the
thing,
bottom.
because yeah, I just wanted.
And we see this with Asians. Wait 1 second. With
Oh, I'm sorry.
Asian people, with what? No, don't be sorry. With Asian people, we see this. Being the respectable minority does not get you anywhere, right? Because look, they will dog whistle, they will they will attack you. Being the respectable minority gets you nowhere. So as a practical decision, it's stupid to side with white supremacy. We are the minority. We're not the minority in the world. We're not. They are the minority, and I'm like, we have numbers and we need to use it.
Well, I want to thank you, Rakim, for coming here. Like I said, I appreciate your input on what you said about Latin America, which is my agenda. It's just to show other minorities, and also the disconnected Latinos that wish to connect with Latin America and know what's happening in our countries. I hope to educate them in what's going on, and that's why I always start my streams with local news on what's happening and the perspective of our people and what's happening in their countries. So I appreciate you coming in our streams and also putting your thoughts on what's going on, and also paying attention to what's happening in our countries. I really appreciate the support.
Oh, thank you, Denise. I really appreciate being on your platform, and I really enjoy being able to have these conversations with you all, because you're teaching me certain things, as well, because I wasn't up on certain current events because I've been doing a lot of things, but just goes to show you the same thing that's going on in Latin America is the same thing that's going on to in America, except in more of a blatant fashion with the corruption.
Basically. So thank you very much. And like I said, Friday, I'm moving the stream that I normally do on Thursdays because of personal reasons. But Friday, I'll be here at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I would love for you to come in and also, always share your thoughts with us. Thank you very
Oh,
much,
I would
Raheem.
love to. I'll have my popcorn ready. I know you said
You
you can't
cannot.
reveal the topic.
Friday is the one stream you do
Gotcha.
not want
I
to
can do it.
miss.
Oh, I'm gonna
You
mark
got
it. I'm
it.
gonna mark it down.
Okay. Have a
But
nice one, Rakeem.
Okay, thank you
Rakim,
all
I
very
really
much.
appreciate you. Like, honestly, I've seen you on different channels, and I respect your knowledge. You know, like you're,
Oh, thank you very much, all aboard. I really
you're
appreciate that.
welcome. Real deal.
Well,
Come get on the stream next time. I want you here Friday.
yeah, Friday, real deal. Make sure you tune in on time. Well, thank you, Rakeem. I appreciate it. Peace.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
You all
you.
have yourselves a great night, okay?
Thank
Okay.
you. Good
All
night.
right. Thank
Now, all aboard. Final thoughts.
My final thoughts. I have a bunch of thoughts, but I didn't write them down.
Try to resume them in like 3 minutes.
No, no, no. I won't go too long. But um, I think first of all about like Puerto Rico. I think that they need to get these people out of there. The people have already shown that they have power, right? Like the people are the power. Stop being afraid. There's no infrastructure. You know? That's if they're gonna be American citizens, then give them American rights. Let them get voting rights. It's ridiculous. They don't even get paid the same thing. Get the politicians out of there that don't serve the people. That was one of my thoughts. What do you think?
Now, well, I feel like, it all starts from our status. In order for us to do that, we have to uh, get out of, the colonial status we're in. So yeah, definitely we have to boot these people and follow Nayib's example and boot them out. And now
I know.
on Nayib Bukele, what's your opinion on El Salvador?
On El Salvador, um, I think that he did a good thing. I think that there's gonna be a lot of pushback. Now it
Definitely.
doesn't being first doesn't come without consequence. It would take other countries like Cuba, South Africa, other countries, because there's gonna be pushback. We have to
Yeah,
remember
definitely.
America controls the world.
Sadly
Like,
but true.
hmm, for
Sadly
sure.
but true. And also on the main topic, the number one thing that's keeping us poor. What's your take on that?
The number one thing that's keeping us poor is that we're not making wise financial investments because we're making money. We're the ones that are making the government run. Because one thing that we learned, and I don't want to. People are gonna call me a racist. I'm not racist. White supremacy is keeping us poor. It is. But the thing is, we have to learn from it because we're being educated, right? We're the
Mhm.
ones that are supplying the workforce. Why are we poor? It's because we're following white supremacy ideology.
Yeah, we're definitely making poor investments. And like I said before, if you did not watch the whole stream, play the playback, and trust me, we will discuss it in length. But like I said, cars specifically will keep you poor because it will take the monthly money, the monthly payment that you will have to make to yourself. Okay, in 10 months, making $500 payments. In 10 months, you can have $5,000. And I already stated that you can start a business with those $5,000. Let's keep it real. So instead of purchasing a car, invest in yourself, pay your bank account, and it will pay off. Trust me. Put it towards the stock market, put it towards somewhere else, but do not keep buying these vehicles.
Buy
So,
gold. Buy gold. If you're gonna buy anything, buy gold. You can, at least you can resell it. But
well,
also learn about the first time homeowners credit. You can get, they will literally help you get a home. That's more important.
well,
I think
thank
real
you.
estate is important.
Thank you all aboard for your input. I will see you later on my next stream. Now, I want to close this by saying follow me on Instagram. I'm putting it below also. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, now is the right time to do it. Also, don't forget to hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me grow my channel. And like I said, Thursday, I will not be doing my usual lives, but I will be doing a live stream Friday. I'm moving it and postponing it to Friday. So you do not want to miss Friday's stream. It's going to be popping. I can guarantee you that. It's going to be really good. We're going to talk about different topics that are happening in Latin America, and also things that will help us move forward. Now, like I said, follow me on Instagram. If you have any suggestions of a topic that you want me to touch more in depth, or you want me to talk about a specific topic that you want to bring to my attention, you can always email me with your questions or inquiries, and I will respond in a timely manner. Without any further ado, I'm about to end. You guys know how we do it here. Thank you very much for the support, to Blood Moon, to Real Deal, to JS, to Christina, to Melanated Night, Sundown, everybody in the chat. If I forget somebody, just know that I appreciate you. And also thank you, Marquis, for your donation. And like I said, let's keep it moving. Let's invest our money more wisely. Stop buying these expensive vehicles. Stick to your use or old one. And, every time you make a purchase, ask yourself, do I need it or do I want it? And trust me, 9 times out of 10, you will not end up making that purchase. And without any further ado, you guys know how we do it here. Peace. See you on Friday.